Good afternoon and welcome to Ray Fisher Stadium here in downtown Ann Arbor on the athletic campus of the University of Michigan, getting set to begin a three-game series between the Michigan Wolverines and the visitors this weekend. All the way from State College in Pennsylvania, the Penn State Nittany Lions are in town. 45 degrees, clouds in the air, and the sun doing its best to gleam through here to Ray Fisher Stadium at the Wilpon Baseball Complex. Well, hello, everybody. My name's Zach Linfield. So glad to be along with you here this afternoon. My good friend Daniel Olson will have our color commentary here today. And Dan, looking at the weather today, I'd say it's a good day for baseball considering what's due for us tomorrow, which is about 90% chances of storms here in Ann Arbor.
Yeah, certainly is a good day for baseball. We've got two teams that are looking to kick off Big Ten play with the bang. Obviously, Michigan coming in at 9-11, struggling a little bit in these last two games, dropped two straight at home, and then on the flip side, a Penn State team that's won five of their last six and starting to play some really good baseball at a good time of year to play some good baseball. So, should be a good game with two teams both, as I mentioned, looking to get off to a fast start in Big Ten play.
As you mentioned, Penn State and Michigan looking to get off to a strong start in conference play. And, well, today marks that first start for both of these teams. The first Big Ten conference game to be played here this afternoon, which marks a whole new start for this Michigan baseball team that enters this afternoon at 9-11. Penn State, a strong record at 12-5. Although this is not Michigan's first game played against a Big Ten foe this year, it's the first one that will count for conference play as they played Michigan State down in Scottsdale the first weekend of the season. So let's go over Penn State's starting lineup here this afternoon, 1 through 9, before we meet the Michigan defensive starters as the home plate umpire has his umpiring crew huddled around him here at home plate on what is a beautiful day here in Ann Arbor. Batting first for Penn State, the second baseman, Kyle Hannon. Batting second, the center fielder, Johnny Piacentino. Batting third, the shortstop, Jay Harry. Batting fourth, the right fielder, Billy Gerlot. Batting fifth, that's the catcher, Thomas Bramley. Batting sixth, the third baseman, Ben Kaler. Batting seventh, left fielder, Taven Kelly. Batting eighth, the DH this afternoon, Bobby Marsh. And rounding out the order for the Nittany Lions is the first baseman, Anthony Steele. Hype video being played on the scoreboard in right field here at Ray Fisher Stadium. Prior to the Wolverines taking the field, they are in their home white uniforms this afternoon with the blue cap with the black M front and center. Penn State in their road grays. They will also be wearing their navy blue caps with the black S on the front. So Connor O'Halloran and the Michigan Wolverines huddled up watching that hype video on the board in right field. What's been remarkable for me, Dan, as broadcaster these past couple of years for this Michigan baseball team is their inability to win the midweek games. They have not won a midweek game now in 2 seasons, which includes multiple games here this year, and that includes the Tuesday matchup with Akron, where Michigan got way behind. They mounted a massive comeback late in the game, but they fell short by 1 run final score, 11-10. That dropped their record 2 games below 500 with the tough Penn State team coming to town. It just seems like the pitching staff for this team does not have enough depth to play well in those midweek games.
Yeah, you've certainly got a couple guys that stand out at the pitching staff. Obviously, we're going to get an up close look at one of them here today in O'Halloran, and then guys like Mitch Voigt, who's actually at third base today, as well as Noah Renard, two quality relievers out of that bullpen. But you got to wonder if Tracy Smith, or how much confidence Tracy Smith has in that bullpen of his, because we've seen at times it has caused problems for this Michigan team and made them rely on the bats way too much in games, and especially in the midweek.
Well, Michigan has taken the field, and their infield warm-ups beginning here on what is a gorgeous day for baseball. Maybe a little cool, but a pretty good crowd here for a Friday afternoon baseball game at Ray Fisher. Our umpiring crew this afternoon behind home plate is Jeff Day. At first base is Wilson Rayner. Second base, David Condon. And at third base, Thomas Burrell Jr. As Penn State is getting set to head into that batter's box for the first time to begin this 3-game series. One pitch away from beginning here. Penn State's lineup one more time. Hannon, Piacentino, Harry, Gerlach, Bramley, Kaler, Kelly, Marsh, and Steele, as they are set to face off against the 20-year-old junior, the native of Mississauga, Ontario, Canada, Connor O'Halloran, the Friday ace for the Wolverines for the second consecutive year, throwing from the left side. A record of 3-1 over 33 1/3 innings pitched. Only 6 earned runs. Here's the big stat, though, Dan. 44 Ks and 8 walks. A straight walk up to the mound from Connor O'Halloran, who holds blue glove in front of his face into his motion, fires away and pins the outside corner for strike one against the second baseman Kyle Hannon. Hannon repping a 3.02 average on the season. First pitch fastball was in there for O'Halloran. Comes back to the fastball, misses high and outside to the left-handed bat of Hannon.
Hannon's a guy you got to be careful with. 5 home runs on the year, leads this Penn State team. Certainly capable of getting a ride into one.
O'Halloran back into his motion, working from the middle of that rubber. And he is hitting that outside corner with those fastballs. All 3 of the first pitches from Connor have been the heater. Count sitting at 1-2. That last one at 89 miles an hour. Wipes the glove off the front of his jersey, which reads Michigan. Sends it home, swing and a miss. High fastball from Connor O'Halloran. And, well, the strikeouts are nothing new for number 20, and he's got one under his belt right away.
Yeah, that was a well set up at bat by O'Halloran. Started with the perfect pitch right on the outside corner, gave him some confidence in that fastball, and then elevated a fastball to get the strikeout.
So Piacentino now steps into the box for Penn State. Quick first pitch for O'Halloran is sky high on the infield. So Trace, the transfer from Michigan State, avoids the bat and makes a diving catch as he lands in fair play. He had to backpedal, finally found it. I think he had to battle the sun that's hiding behind the clouds here today. But he made the catch, and it's a one-pitch out for O'Halloran.
A little bit of wind drifting out towards center field as well. Those have always been tough plays for catchers to make, but really good fundamentals there, turning his back towards the infield and making a really solid play.
Left-handed bat of Jay Harry steps into the box, squares to bunt, and backs out of the way. A fastball inside from Connor O'Halloran. Just underway here from Ann Arbor. 2 outs in the top of the first inning. Michigan and Penn State. Wolverines 9-11. Penn State 12-5. No score. Driven into the air right field off the bat of Harry. Back goes the right fielder Velasquez, and he'll watch this one fly. Jay Harry, a home run right onto his own photo on the scoreboard in right field. And just like that, it's a 1-0 Nittany Lion lead from Ray Fisher.
Jay Harry, that's his 4th home run on the season now. Second on the team in home runs, and that was a fastball that just kind of leaked over the middle of the plate, was elevated, and Harry made no mistake about that, hitting that one off the scoreboard out there in right center, and after a really good start for O'Halloran, those first few pitches, couldn't get away with the fastball over there.
Tracy Smith just made his way out to the home plate umpire, Jeff Day, and they're going to check Jay Harry's bat. What do you think, Dan? They're going to bring the whole umpiring crew together here. That was a fastball that, as you mentioned, leaked right over the plate, and he did not miss it.
That's an inch. I wonder if he heard something in the sound, maybe? Saw something on the bat?
I mean, some of the time we'll see issues with pine tar, but this is rare, especially for the game nowadays.
Yeah. It certainly wasn't a pitch that wasn't capable of being hit out of the park. Like he, hit a curveball that was at his feet over the
The
right field
umpires
fence.
have asked the man who was set to take the plate, Billy Gerlach, to head back to the Penn State dugout, or at least on that side, as he was right in front of Michigan's dugout here on the third base side. The home plate umpire, Jeff Day, motions over to Tracy Smith and says, nothing there. Home run Penn State, 1-0 lead Nittany Lions. So that's an interesting start to this ball game. 2 up, 2 down, then a home run. solo style for Harry. And now Billy Gerlach will step into the box on the right-handed side for Penn State. First pitch for O'Halloran. Just misses high and outside. That's the first breaking ball we've seen from Connor. That one at 83. I believe that's the changeup he's throwing from the left side. Second pitch, swing and a miss. Low in the zone. That's the fastball from Connor. And he levels the count at 1 apiece. 263 average for Gerlach. And he takes a peek at a called strike. And now he's behind in the count 1-2. And I think O'Halloran shook off that home run pretty quickly, especially since he was able to get a couple more warm-up pitches in while the umpires were discussing what happened on the homer. That one's fouled off right side and ricochets back into the seats on the Penn State dugout side. The count will remain 1 ball, 2 strikes. O'Halloran steps up to the rubber, into his motion, the 1-2. On the ground, right side. Ted Burton, sure-handed. Quick throw to first over to Jake Marty, and that will retire the side. A solo home run for Jay Harry. Penn State on the board first. It's a 1-0 lead for the Nittany Lions as we head to the Michigan half of the first inning here from Ray Fisher Stadium. Just can't leave that one over the plate. That's the only issue that Connor O'Halloran had there in that first inning. Other than that, he was throwing the ball well.
Yeah, he certainly got up to a good, confident start, right? Obviously, when you hit that fastball on the outside corner, locate that fastball there on your first pitch, it gives not only you, but guys calling your pitches, whether that's pitching coach, catcher, whoever it may be, some confidence that you've got your stuff, you've got your location. And I think Michigan maybe got a little bit too aggressive with that, and then O'Halloran let one slip over the middle of the plate. Jay Harry made him pay, but you could see the adjustment the next at bat. You touched on it, saw that slider, saw that changeup for the first time. Another well executed at bat from the pitcher standpoint, from O'Halloran's standpoint there, to get out of the inning, minimize the damage, go make the adjustments, and keep the pitch count low as well.
So Michigan had a slow start at the plate in Tuesday's game against Akron. And we'll be able to see what this team can put together, trailing in the bottom of the first inning after what was a really strong start for Connor O'Halloran. He was pounding the strike zone, was able to garner a strikeout against the first batter, and then a 1-pitch out, which has really helped this kid out here this season. He's thrown a lot of pitches in his last 2 baseball games. We'll talk more about that when Connor retakes the mound in the top of the second. Well, Michigan set to get their first at-bats here from Ray Fisher Stadium on what is a beautiful Friday afternoon for some baseball here in Southeast Michigan. Starting lineup for Michigan, the shortstop Cody Jeffress will lead off. Tito Flores bats second and plays in left. Batting third, playing second base, Ted Burton made the play to end the top of the first inning. Joe Longo, the designated hitter, bats cleanup, batting fifth. Joey Velasquez, he's in right. Jake Marty, the first baseman. Then Gabe Sotrace, Mitch Voigt, and Jonathan Kim to round out the order for the Maize and Blue, trailing by 1 as they get set to face off against the 23-year-old native of Penn Laird, Virginia, Daniel Outerkirk. Fastball low for ball 1 against Jeffress, and Outerkirk's day has begun. 6'9", 255. Second pitch laced high into the air off the bat of Jeffress. Into the shadow in deep center field goes Piacentino, and he makes the catch for out number 1. 2 pitches to Jeffress, and he's retired, and a quick first out for Outerkirk.
Yeah, I like the aggressiveness, though, by Jeffress. He got a fastball a little bit up in the zone, and that's why he got under it just a touch, but Outerkirk provides plenty of power with that fastball sitting around 94 miles an hour, so just trying to get some solid contact, and it'll go a long way.
Tito Flores steps into the box on the right-handed side for Michigan and takes strike 1, a slider high in the zone from Outerkirk. Hair flowing out the back of his cap. Pants pulled up slightly. Looks like he's in the stretch before he comes into the motion. Flores waves and misses on a fastball low and away. 94 on the gun from the 6'9" Outer Kirk. Celebrated his 23rd birthday 8 days ago. On the ground towards the middle of the infield. Tough play for the shortstop, Harry. A nice diving stop. Makes the play, throws to first, and Flores is retired. Doesn't get much better than that, huh?
No, it certainly doesn't. What a play from Jay Harry, moving over to his left, sliding on this turf, picking the correct hop, getting up, making the quick throw, and kept a low base, which made it easier to get that throw over to first accurately and on time for the out.
Flores has got some speed, too. So here's Ted Burton now. First pitch slider inside strike zone for a called strike.
That's the second time now that we've seen a Michigan batter kind of jump out of the way of that slider. Be something to look at going forward.
Tell you what, his windup seems kind of lazy, but then he comes into the motion. Boy, that slider is moving 80 miles an hour, swinging a miss from Ted Burton. Quickly 0-2, but the windup, it's very slow and deliberate. Doesn't look like he's going to throw it that hard, and then here it comes, the 0-2. Slider outside, just misses, about a ball and a half's width off the plate. Ted Burton has struck out 23 times this year, batting at a .264 clip, the second baseman for Michigan. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Here's the delivery. That's fouled off straight behind home plate. I would fully think he'd go back to the slider here, Dan.
I'd agree. He's located it well so far on 0-2. Started over the plate and kind of let it drift out. Then went to the fastball here. I'd expect another slider kind of down and away. See if he can get Burton to chase.
Here's the 1-2 pitch from Outer Kirk. There's the slider. Missed it away. Oh boy, but they called strike. They said that he did go. That's the first base umpire, Wilson Rayner, that said Burton did go around. I'll tell you what, it was close. But there's the first strikeout of the afternoon for Daniel Outerkirk. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Penn State, and they will come back up to the plate, leading by 1 in the top of the second. So pretty similar to the start that we've seen a couple times throughout this season, where Michigan just doesn't start off that hot. They find themselves in an early hole, and that's why their record's down at 9-11.
Yeah, it was certainly an impressive inning from Daniel Outerkirk, though. He had the fastball going at 94, 94 and a half. Certainly that's enough speed to make a hitter have to think and react to that. And then to be able to drop the slider off as well as he has. And a couple times he started it at Michigan batters in the right-handed box and then just let it drift back over the plate. It's a good pitch to have in his arsenal for this outing. You could see Michigan players hesitate a little bit, right? Because if that's 94 and it's coming right at you, you're going to flinch quite a bit. But then to be able to also locate it on that outer half of the plate and let it drift away makes some guys think about, where the strike zone is, and got Ted Burton on it, obviously, to end the inning. So an excellent start for Outerkirk.
And I'm still interested. I would have liked to hear what Tracy Smith and what the umpiring crew were talking about with the Jay Harry home run, which gave Penn State the 1-0 lead. So we enter the top of the second inning with Penn State leading 1-0 here at Ray Fisher Stadium. Jay Harry, 2-out solo home run in the top of the first off Connor O'Halloran. And Connor is back out there to work. Into his motion, fires a fastball high. To start off, Thomas Bramley, with a 1-0 count. Throws a slider low and away, and the third base umpire, Thomas Burrell, says he went around for a strike. Bramley, a strong .311 average on the season, looks at a slider low and away into the turf. Count sits at 2 balls and a strike. Connor looks into his pitch comm, takes a big deep breath, and delivers home, and that's fouled off. Man, that would have come right into the booth. That would have been your first souvenir, wouldn't it have?
Yes, it would have knocked another one of my teeth out.
You have the story on how your first one got knocked out?
We can get into that at some point, maybe. It was never knocked out, but
2-2. That's a line drive into center field. That'll drop in front of Jonathan Kim. And Penn State's got their leadoff man on here in the top of the second inning. Base hit for the catcher, Bramley. I've never heard the story.
well, it just never grew in. I wish I had a better story than that, but just never
I
there when
mean,
the
you could
first
have
one
came
came
up with
out.
pretty much anything you wanted.
Yeah, I could have, but I'm not that creative. That was an excellent piece of hitting, by the way, by Bramley there. Kind of flipped it out to center field.
Here's Ben Kaler. First pitch misses low and away. Sotrace to his knees and slides outside to grab it. Right-handed bat, Kaler. 8 points shy of 300 on the season. Doesn't bat for too much power and takes a strike on the outside corner. Count now leveled, 1-1 to Connor O'Halloran. An impressive stat for me for this junior left-hander from Michigan, the 1-1. And Kaler thought about it, doesn't poke at it. 2 balls and a strike, fastball outside. Is that opposing batters only bat 170 against him with runners on base. That is not very good for the opposition. The 2-1. And breaking ball, and Kaler lays off of it, but the appeal down to first is a yes. So now the count is 2-2. This is a lot of appeals for the first inning and a half of play. And successful appeals at that. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Connor O'Halloran stares over at Bramley, throws inside, hits the dirt, and I think Kaler wanted a hit by pitch.
Yeah, well, he didn't sell it very well. Kind of jogged off as if it didn't touch him. So, of course, the umpire said it did not touch him.
And Jeff Day welcomes him back into the box. And Kaler kind of looked back at Jeff Day. And as you mentioned, it wasn't a very good sell. There's not a very good acting school over at Penn State. The full count pitch. Line drive down the right field line. That's slicing into foul territory and down into the Penn State bullpen, which is completely empty as of right now after Daniel Outerkirk's 1-2-3 bottom of the first inning. 1-0 Penn State. Solo home run from Jay Harry off Connor O'Halloran in the first. The payoff again from O'Halloran. Called strike 3 right down the middle. And there's the second K of the game for Connor.
Yeah, beautiful location on that inside fastball. Started just off the plate and then kind of drifted back over that corner. And Kaler had no chance, just stood there looking, probably expecting some sort of off speed or something kind of out off the opposite edge of the plate.
Now Taven Kelly steps into the box. First pitch to him is a changeup that rides high, but for a called strike.
I think this you can kind of see O'Halloran's success with runner on base here is able to hold the runners as a lefty, but also mixes up his timing and throws a lot of strikes.
Here's the 0-1 from Connor, and he will check the runner Bramley over at first after his leadoff single to center. He also changes his location based on when he's in the stretch, when he's in the windup. When he's in the windup, he's almost dead middle of the slab. Big swing and a miss, and it's quickly 0-2. That's a nice slide piece there from Connor.
And that was filthy. Had been locating that fastball kind of on the left side of the plate, so inside to righties, away to lefties, and then just dropped the slider off that same location. Got a big swing and a miss from Kelly there.
And here's the 0-2, looking to waste away Taven Kelly. Slider shoots right through the legs of Gabe Sotrace, and the runner will advance to second base.
Yeah, that's one Sotrace will want back. That's a pretty routine block there. Maybe a little bit of a miscommunication on what the pitch call was, and probably a missed spot for O'Halloran, but one that Sotrace knocks down and keeps in front of him
Typically, that
nine
he
times
would
out of
have that,
10. Yeah.
right? 12 RBIs on the season for Taven Kelly. 1-2 is tapped back foul to the backstop here.
So another fastball on that inside part of the place he's been locating so well. Wouldn't shock me if he went back here to that slider, started inside and let it drop.
The only pitch that he's thrown away since he's been on that left side of the rubber from our perspective is the changeup. Back up the middle on the ground. Here's Jeffress ranging over, makes a strong throw to Marty at first. The runner does advance over to third, but now there is 2 away for Bobby Marsh.
A little changeup there from O'Halloran. Got Kelly out in front. When you get out in front, really easy to roll over that ball, and you see that high chopper right to the shortstop. Jeffress made an excellent play, set his feet, made a nice throw over to first.
Marsh is a strong batter with 2 outs this season. That's 1 for 3. First pitch from O'Halloran, that's a beauty. Outside corner at 82, a swing and a miss from Bobby Marsh, who tacks in at a 278 mark this season. 2 strikeouts for Connor O'Halloran. Runner over on third base is Bramley. 2 gone in the inning. A checked foul over towards the Michigan dugout. That's a strong start to the last 2 bats for Connor O'Halloran, putting both of them in an 0-2 divot. No balls, 2 strikes. The pitch home from O'Halloran. Swing and a miss. It's a fastball high, and he wastes Bobby Marsh. Runner left on third base, but Penn State still leads 1-0 as we head to the bottom of the second here from Ray Fisher Stadium in Ann Arbor. And there's your definition of good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Completely wasted him away with 3 really good pitches.
Yeah, started with that slider that we've been talking about. He's been able to locate that on the left half of the plate. We'll see if he ever tries to backdoor it later in the game, but he's been able to start it left, kind of drop it to a right-hander's back foot, so to speak. Has got some swings and misses out of that, and then went up and in to the lefty there with a fastball. Got him to kind of check swing it away, and then he's not he doesn't have the most velocity on his fastball, at only around 90 miles an hour, especially in the modern game. But there's plenty of movement on that, and causes some hitters to struggle a little bit with figuring out what pitch he's going to throw, especially because he's been locating everything so well, and everything moves quite a bit. That fastball's got some nice two-seam tail on it, so it's given some of these Penn State hitters some problems, especially when it's been up in the zone. He just has to keep it off the middle of the plate, where obviously Jay Harry made him pay in the first inning.
It's a 1-0 lead for Penn State. Middle of the order due up for Michigan, 4, 5, and 6. And the red-hot bat of Joe Longo, the designated hitter this evening for Tracy Smith, will lead off for the Maize and Blue.
Curious to see how patient Longo is here. Obviously, you mentioned he's been hitting the ball really well recently, but Michigan went down in short order in that first inning. Wouldn't be too surprised to see Longo take until he gets a strike here.
And Wolverines with 45 or more at bats. Joe Longo, by far the highest batting average at 354, takes a slider for a called strike from the big outer Kirk. Mentioned it. 6'9", 255. The big right-hander for Penn State, graduate student transfer from West Virginia. Fastball is lifted into the air right field. Sailing towards Gerlach, he ranges to his left and makes an easy snag for the first out of the frame. 1, 2, 3, 4, up and down for Daniel Outerkirk.
Yeah, that slider that starts in on righties and cuts back and slides over the plate is really causing people trouble. It's probably partly the frame, but also the movement on that pitch starts right at them. They're kind of stepping out just a touch, and you saw it there with the kind of weak fly out to right.
Here's Joey Velasquez now for Michigan. Big swing and a miss for strike 1. Low in the zone, fastball at 94 for Outerkirk. Straight up stance for him until he gets into his windup, bends over a bit, and he fires a fastball way high. That one's 1 mile per hour higher at 95. Trying to get Joey to chase out of the zone. Left-handed bat Velasquez bats 188, swings and misses on that slider outside. There it is.
That was filthy. Just dropped right off the table, right on that corner. 12-mile-an-hour change in speed. Velasquez had no chance at that.
Into the windup goes Outerkirk. The 1-2 misses low and outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Joey Velasquez has his family in attendance here today from Columbus, Ohio. Dual sport athlete, special team star for Michigan football. The 2-2. Way inside. Joey had to duck out of the way, and the count is now full with the payoff pitch coming here from Daniel Outerkirk. Michigan looking for their first base runner of this afternoon. Here's the 3-2. Left it over the plate, and it's fouled off to the right side where Jimmy Obertop steps out of the way. Boy, will that be a lift when they eventually get Jimmy back over there coaching first base. Had surgery in the offseason, has not been able to play so far this year. Slider misses, just a touch high. And Joey Velasquez represents Michigan's first base runner of the afternoon.
That was an excellent at bat. Started off aggressive, swinging first pitch, but was able to kind of fight back, foul off the pitches that he needed to, and showed some great patience because that was an excellent pitch from Outerkirk that just a bit outside, tried to get the back door there and missed it by about half an inch, half a ball probably.
1-0 Penn State. First look at Outerkirk in the stretch as he fires a ball way low and outside to the left-handed bat of Jake Marty. Jake was 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs in the loss on Tuesday against Akron. Final score 11-10. Swing and a miss, fastball high in the zone. Outerkirk's missed with his last 2 fastballs, and he slowed that one down 2 miles an hour, down to 92, which by no means is slow, but able to put it back into the zone. 1-1. Goes back to the fastball, but misses high and away.
It's been interesting to watch Outerkirk's process change a little bit here with the lefties. He's been trying to go to that changeup kind of down and away and hasn't been able to locate it as well yet.
Here's the 2-1. Tapped foul right behind home plate.
That was better. That was a much better changeup. Great difference in speed. Just had a fastball up in the zone, and then to change the hitter's eye level, change the speeds on him, got Marty to swing over the top.
Penn State on top 1-0. Jay Harry solo home run in the top of the first inning. Called strike 3, low and inside as Jake Marty takes a fastball for a called strike 3. So that's only his 4th strikeout in his last 7 games. So Jake Marty's been a lot more patient at the plate as he was a year ago. He's seeing pitches a lot better, but Outerkirk gets the best of him there. So Gabe Sotre steps into the box for Michigan. They are all bending out of the way of that slider, especially on the first pitch, but that one misses high. He's also moving very quickly. Sotre's calls for time, the transfer from Michigan State. First conference game as a Wolverine being played for Gabe. 1-0. Another slider, low and outside as the catcher Bramley, who led off the top of the second inning for Penn State, slides into the left-handed batter's box to stop the low slider. 2-0. Outerkirk back to work, raises the leg, fires home. Fastball called for a strike, pins the outside corner.
The first real hitters count Michigan's had today at 2-0, and Outerkirk didn't let Sotres get the bat off his shoulder, locating that fastball on the outside.
Little miscommunication here between Outerkirk and Bramley, as Outerkirk's trying to move very, very quickly. Want to take their time getting that pitch home as the fastball misses way too high to Gabe Sotres. Michigan threatening to put 2 base runners on here, with the third baseman Mitch Voigt looming on deck. .210 average for Sotres. 3-1 misses low and outside. And he draws his 8th walk of the campaign. And now Mitch Voigt will strut up to the box, and he's been one of the hotter hitters for Michigan as well. He's 4 of his last 7. He's kind of that do-it-all guy for Michigan as of late. He's been good at the plate, and he has been really good on the mound. First pitch to Mitch Voigt. There's that slider again. It's been a pretty consistent theme from Daniel Outerkirk to throw that first pitch slider. He's missed with the last 2.
He's missing everything up in the zone a little bit. I think this is a good timeout here with
Bramley heading out there.
Bramley heading out there, yeah. Outerkirk seems to be rushing just everything a little bit. He's trying to pitch quick. I think he feels good about what he's throwing. I think he thinks he's throwing it hard and throwing it where he wants to, but just rushing his thought process, rushing his overall motion, I think, once he's gotten into the stretch, and that's caused some pitches to miss up and miss the zone left. So we'll see if this timeout can settle him down a little bit.
Timeout is over. Bramley has returned to his spot behind home plate. Pitch to Voigt, swung on and missed. Safe to say that Voigt regretted the decision to swing, although it was left over the plate, 1-1. Right back to the slider. 1-1. Beautiful pitch to the outside corner. He's ramped that velocity back up again.
Yeah, much better patience and tempo on that stretch delivery there.
Graduate student against freshman here, the 1-2. Left high. He hasn't thrown the changeup a lot, but it's been close when he's thrown it. I mean, maybe a ball's width above the zone there to Mitch Voigt. So 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 gone in the bottom of the second inning. Penn State by 1. The pitch home. Swing and a miss. That slider again, Daniel, he got him swinging. And Mitch Voigt is down on strikes. 3rd strikeout for Daniel Outerkirk. Michigan strands 2 here in the bottom of the second inning. Penn State holding on to that 1-0 lead from a gorgeous Ray Fisher Stadium here in Ann Arbor. Got to be able to capitalize with guys on base, yeah?
Yeah, especially for this Michigan team that doesn't have the pop in their bats that a Penn State team might. Leader in home runs for this Michigan team is Sotrace with 3. They only have 14 on the season total, and for a team that's played 20 games now, you'd like to have a little more pop, but that also tells you that you have to kind of grind out some runs. And when you get chances, runners on first and seconds with 2 outs, you'd like to have a more competitive at bat than Voigt just had there, kind of waved over that slider on the outside part of the plate that, in my opinion, wasn't one of Outerkirk's best sliders of the day, but you can see that he's got it in the minds of these Michigan hitters, and it's causing them some problems right now.
I think what's a little fascinating about this experience so far for these Michigan hitters against Outerkirk is the veteran guys against the younger guys. Mitch Voigt's only a freshman, and you saw the way he regretted swinging at the first pitch, slider for a strike, after he took, obviously, the ball 1. And then the way that he reacted after he swung and missed on the low and outside slider, that's just a pitch that he likely hasn't seen before from a pitcher like Daniel Outerkirk.
Right, and coming out of a guy's hand who's 6'9", 250, it's a different frame than you see very often. So for every Michigan hitter, no matter how much experience you've got in Big Ten play or just Division I play in general, seeing a guy at that size certainly makes you think a little bit more, and I think that's causing them some problems right now.
So we found our way to the top of the 3rd inning. Penn State and Michigan kicking off Big Ten play here from Ray Fisher Stadium in Ann Arbor. Penn State holding on to a 1-0 lead as Connor O'Halloran is back to the mound and throws a first pitch strike to Anthony Steele. Jake Marty down to his knees over at first base to scoop it up and step on first base on his own. That's the 2nd time here in the first 3 innings for Connor O'Halloran. He's gotten a first pitch out, helping out his pitch count today.
Yeah, I know Steele liked that pitch. It was over the middle of the plate, but I don't think you're up there at 0-0 looking for a curveball to try and hit. So probably have some more patience in his next at bat.
Here's Kyle Hannon stepping into the box. Breaking ball catches the outside corner for Connor O'Halloran. And again, he's ahead, 0-1. Hannon struck out to begin the game. Really good first batter faced from Connor. Sky-high pop-up. This is on the infield, and Jake Marty, ranging to his left. Foul territory, fair territory, and he makes the catch, stumbling back towards the infield as the runner Hannon slipped on first base. Body's kind of just flying everywhere for the second out.
Yeah, that wind is kind of drifting out towards right center, and on those big infield flies, it's gonna exacerbate the spin a little bit and start moving it back towards that area. It's caused some problems already, but handled well.
Here's Johnny Piacentino. Takes a breaking ball low and outside. Sotres had to reach across his body to grab it. The center fielder for Penn State was that first pitch out of the game. Popped out to the catcher, Sotres. Fastball right at the knees, but two inside. 2 balls, no strikes to Piacentino. He has 3 multi-hit games in his last 4 for the Nittany Lions. Seeing the ball very well at the plate in the 2-hole. There's the curveball that we talked about before the game for Connor O'Halloran that just glides into the zone and is called for a snaky strike.
And he's thrown it 3 times so far this inning, 3 for 3 on getting strikes.
2-1. That's fouled back to the screen.
There it was again, 4 for 4.
Count is all leveled up at 2 apiece. Connor will exchange balls with home plate umpire Jeff Day.
But he goes after him with the fastball kind of up in the zone here. He's gone a couple curveballs in a row to kind of get Piacentino off balance.
He was throwing the high fastball to the top of the order in their first time around, but this time he goes breaking ball low and in to the right-handed hitter, Piacentino. Doesn't even budge at it.
Yeah, I'm not sure I like that pitch. Piacentino's just seen 2 of those curveballs, and he knows what it looks like. He knows that if it starts towards him, it's going to continue to break toward him and likely miss the zone.
3 balls and 2 strikes, the payoff pitch here from O'Halloran. Swung on and drilled into right field. That's drifting back towards Velasquez, and he'll watch this one fly. Piacentino goes yard to right field, and Penn State has snagged a 2-0 lead here in Ann Arbor on 2 solo bombs.
It's a fastball kind of up, out over the plate. Not a terrible pitch, but I think it was the pitch he should have thrown before on 2-2. 3-2 count. Piacentino knew fastball was coming, did an excellent job just going with it. And as we mentioned, that wind's kind of drifting out right center. So that ball just got up in the air and kept going.
Just the second home run for Piacentino this season. Gives Penn State a 2-run lead. First pitch to Jay Harry, who gave them the 1-0 lead, is high. So it's a 1-0 count to the 324 hitter. The 1-0. There's a nice breaking ball. Slow breaking ball over the middle from O'Halloran. Called for a strike. It's the first home run for Piacentino since March 10th against Brown to start that series with the Bears. 1-1. Weird swing, chopped towards second. Ted Burton fields, tosses to Jake Marty, and it's a 2-0 Penn State lead as we find our way to the bottom of the 3rd inning here in Ann Arbor. Penn State leading by 2. Well, that's how they do it, huh? They'll get you quick with the solo home runs.
Yeah, they certainly will, and I think that's the difference between this Penn State team and that Michigan team. As I mentioned, Michigan only 14 home runs on the year. Penn State's shown their power today, especially to the right side of the field. And I just keep going back to that sort of setup of that at bat by O'Halloran on the homer by Piacentino. The 2-2 curve down and in that you're not going to throw for a strike when the guy's already seen 2 of those pitches back to back. He's seen the spin, he's seen the speed. He has a great feel for it. I think that's the time where you mix in fastball because you know if you miss and he doesn't swing, the next pitch you're probably going to come back with that fastball. And leaving a fastball up in the zone to anybody is dangerous with the power that modern athletes have now. So tough spot to miss there, and Piacentino made him pay.
I'll tell you what, one of the luxuries that we have about calling these games for student radios, we don't have advertisements through these commercial breaks. So we get to talk especially about these warm-up pitches that Daniel Outerkirk is throwing. He threw 2 sliders, and you and I have been oohing and eyeing about that
Filthy.
pitch. It's filthy.
Filthy. That thing moves a good.
At least halfway across the plate.
Yeah, I'd give it a 3/4 of a plate when he throws it right. I bet if he really wanted to, he could snap that across the entire plate. I mean, it's an impressive pitch, and it's been effective so far for him today.
2-0 lead for Penn State as Michigan has Jonathan Kim leading off the bottom of the third, and he looks at a fastball high and away for ball 1. Back into the windup is Outerkirk, steps back with his left, raises the leg and throws home, and Jonathan Kim fouls it directly off the catcher Bramley for the first strike of the count. A week ago today, in the series opener with Bradley, Kim went 4 for 4 with a double. His best outing as a starter in this lineup, the 1-1. Fastball low and away to a backhand grab goes Bramley, who was just shaken up by the previous pitch.
Outerkirk's missed his location a little bit these past few batters. We'll see if he can start to dial that back in.
Into the windup he goes for the 2-1. Swing and a miss. Fastball high and away. Jonathan Kim takes a quick step out of the box, readjusts the batting gloves, and will re-enter the left side. Waves his bat out once towards Outerkirk. Here's the pitch. 2-2, fouled off the glove of Bramley. We've mentioned the size of Daniel Outerkirk. 6'9", 255, but a lot of experience under his belt. He was a Mountaineer at West Virginia prior to starting graduate school at Penn State. Ball is tipped right in front of home plate. The catcher Bramley loses it, throws to first, and Kim is retired by half a step. He took an odd angle to first base, and Bramley saw the ball bounce in fair territory. He touched it, but bobbled it. It then fumbled into foul territory, and Bramley was still able to make a timely throw to first to retire Kim.
It was an interesting path there by Kim. I think he was trying to maybe get in the way of the throw instead of just running through the bag. I think if he didn't change direction, he's probably
safe.
got a good contest that tie goes to the runner there. But
Cody Jeffress from the left side takes strike 1, low and out. But at West Virginia, Outerkirk pitched in 23 games over 2 seasons. Made 9 appearances a year ago and had a 1-0 record. The 0-1. That's lifted into the air right field off the bat of Jeffress. It's dropping down into right field, and there's Michigan's first base hit. Jeffress is going to leg this one out for 2. Ahead for a slide into second. He is safe. A nice throw from the right fielder Gerlot to the shortstop Harry. But Jeffress must have just gotten the hand in time, and Michigan's got their first hit of the afternoon.
yeah, it was an excellent piece of hitting there and base running as well, because with 1 out, trying to get that runner in scoring position gives Michigan a better opportunity to get that run in here, and ran hard right out of the box. Didn't wait to see if it was going to drop in fair territory, be caught. Made that hard turn going for second and an impressive slide in there to beat the throw.
And I'll tell you what, that ball off the bat of Jeffress just hung up in the air for what seemed like forever. Here's Tito Flores. Takes a peek at ball 1. That slider low and away. He has not thrown that pitch for a strike here in the third. Pretty safe to say that's his best pitch. We'll try and relocate that. And this one's fouled off behind home plate, and well, he found it. That's the slider again. And the count is now even at 1 apiece with Tito.
Important for Flores here to at least get the runner over to third base at minimum for this at bat. Obviously, you'd like a base hit, but Michigan needs to give themselves some more chances here.
We got Ted Burton on deck. Fastball up and in as Tito bends out of the way. He's now 2 for his last 18. But Tito not striking out. He's putting bat on ball, just not finding grass. 2-1. That's a line drive into right at the right fielder Gerlot, and he's there to make a catch on the line drive. So that's kind of right on cue for Tito Flores. He's making contact, but the hits are just not falling.
Yeah, that was exactly the approach too. Try and hit something up that right side, and plenty of room over there if it's on the ground. Just caught it square and right at the right fielder. Tough break for Michigan and Flores.
And no need to deal with the wind when you slice a line drive directly through it. Here's Ted Burton now for Michigan. He'll take a slider outside. I think that one pretty much covered exactly what you said. Moved about 3/4 of the plate, but it started about halfway over it, which means it landed in the left-handed batter's box for a ball. Well, he'll retry the slider, and he missed inside with this one.
That didn't miss by a whole lot there, but Burton's got himself a good count to be aggressive here at 2-0.
Got a runner on second base, Jeffress, after his double, Michigan's first hit. 2-0 count to Ted Burton, trailing by 2, and he lifts a pop-up on the left side of the infield. Kaler charging, and we'll watch it bounce into the Michigan dugout for strike one. So you've got Ted Burton at the plate. He's got 6 RBIs in his last 4 games. And on deck is Joe Longo, who's been one of the hotter bats for Michigan as of late. Runner on second base looking to scratch a number into the scoreboard here. The 2-1 pitch. Line drive towards short under the diving glove of Harry. Rounding third, coming to the plate is Jeffress. The throw from the left fielder, Kelly, not in time. It comes to the catcher, Bramley, and the throw to second is too late as well. Ted Burton with an RBI single advances on the throw, and Michigan cuts the lead in half.
Excellent piece of hitting there by Burton. 2-1 count. Just saw a fastball, timed up this one on the 2-1, drove it into left field, and then again, excellent base running. Saw that the throw was coming into the plate, missing the cutoff man, allowed him to get that head on over to second base, slide in safely, and give Michigan another opportunity to put another run on the board here.
And as we mentioned, Joe Longo's coming to the plate in what is now a 2-1 ball game. And Rob Cooper, the head coach for Penn State, has made his way out to the mound to have a chat with the entirety of the infield. And we just peer out there. As you mentioned, Daniel Outerkirk, 6'9". Look at him stand next to Rob Cooper.
Yeah, it's certainly a sight.
And the rest of the infield, for that matter.
Yeah, it looks like a center on a basketball team and full of point guards. It's a large human being.
I mean, it's a little ridiculous him standing there right next to the others.
Yeah, and then
the next tallest one is Anthony Steele, and he's not short. I'm 6'4". Anthony Steele is 6'4". The other infielders are all in their 6'1". But 6'4" is short by no means. So here's Joe Longo with 2 outs and a runner on second. Takes a slider away. Nice stop behind the dish by Bramley down to his knees, sliding to his right. Penn State outfield playing relatively deep. The shadow from the batter's eye is looming over the center fielder, Piacentino. Longo lifts one in the left center field, but here comes Kelly to make the grab for the third out of the frame. So Michigan on the board for the first time this afternoon. They make the score 2-1 on a Ted Burton RBI single that scores Cody Jeffress. And Michigan is right back in this thing here from Ray Fisher Stadium. Kind of seemed like he just reached maybe a little bit too far for that one, Joe Longo did.
Yeah, I think he was excited. I think that was a fastball over the plate. Certainly a pitch that a guy who's seen the ball as well as Longo and has as much confidence in his bat as he does would like to be aggressive to. And that's what makes baseball hard is you're gonna see a lot of pitches, and the best players in the world only get on base or get a hit 33% of the time. So good at bat, better inning for Michigan. Finally was able to take advantage of some of the pitches that Outerkirk's been leaving over the plate. On their run scoring single there, Kelly threw it into the infield, allowed Burton to get the second. And those are the throws that I know it didn't hurt Penn State, but the importance of hitting the cutoff man to keep a guy like Burton on first base and keep Penn State out of that runners in scoring position danger that's possible in those scenarios is critical, especially in one-run games. And I'm sure that's something that Penn State will talk to their guy about. I know missed throws happen, but certainly it was important there for Kelly to hit the cutoff man to stop Burton from getting to the next base and getting another runner in scoring position for Michigan.
2-1 Penn State lead. Connor O'Halloran back to the bump for Michigan. Pitch count at 44 right now for the junior from Mississauga, Ontario, Canada, making his first pitch to the plate to Gerlach. Misses high and outside. Now the second consecutive season that Connor O'Halloran has been the Friday night starter for Michigan. He's been very good in this role for both Eric Bakich and now Tracy Smith. Fastball misses just below the knees. Gabe Sotrace with a quick lean of the head and a throw back to his pitcher. Billy Gerlach leads off for Penn State. It's 4, 5, and 6 for Rob Cooper's club. The 2-0 pitch. Fastball high and away, misses for ball 3. Penn State has had their leadoff man on in just one of the 3 innings played so far. A 3-0 count bodes well for that stat in Gerlach. He will watch a fastball glide into the outer part of the zone for strike 1. Well, that was the longest that Connor O'Halloran has been in the dugout while Michigan's been at the plate. 3-1 is right back to Connor, but fouled off the front leg of the right-handed batter.
Yeah, an excellent job of battling back here. Obviously, one of the keys of pitching, especially as a starting pitcher, is don't walk the first guy you face. Teams are way more likely to score when they get that first guy on base, and to make it so easy too to get to that 3-0 count. He's done an excellent job of battling back here.
3 balls and 2 strikes to Billy Gerlach. The payoff high and tight for ball 4. Had to do a 90-degree spin to get out of the way. As you mentioned, much more likely to score when the leadoff man is on base. The interesting thing is that Penn State's had their leadoff man on one time today. That inning was the second inning. They didn't score that inning. They've scored in the other 2 innings. Solo home runs. So now from the stretch, working on the far left side of the rubber from our perspective in the booth is O'Halloran, as there's a line drive deep into center field off the bat of Bramley. Going back as Kim makes a leaping grab right at the track and makes the relay throw into Cody Jeffress and a quick first out after the leadoff walk for Connor O'Halloran.
Oh, and that's how you get it back right there, is throw a first pitch strike and get a first pitch out. Probably not the contact that O'Halloran was hoping for. That ball was hit pretty darn well out there to center, but got the out, and now you're in a position where a double play will get you out of this inning and get the boys back up to bat.
So Ben Kaler now steps up to the dish, and he takes strike 1. As far as movement goes for Connor O'Halloran, I think the changeup has been his best pitch here today. That one was low and in, started higher, pickoff move to first. Not close as Gerlach's back in safe.
Yeah, he's kind of developed that into the game as it's gone on, and it's added another layer for these Penn State hitters to think about.
Here's the 0-1. Squaring to bunt is Kaler. Nice bunt, and O'Halloran fumbles it, and safe at first and second is Gerlach and Kaler. Just a perfectly placed bunt, and that will likely be an error on the Michigan pitcher. They're going to mark it as a hit.
It's generous there. That was an excellent bunt, though, by Kaler. The fundamentals were perfect at the bat. Lined up toward first base, dropped the handle just a little bit, sort of caught the ball with the bat.
And they took the hit off the board, and there's the error. So that will go against the pitcher, Connor O'Halloran. Would have been a tough play to make, had plenty of time, just fumbled the ball. There's Kelly now as he takes strike 1, a fastball. Runners on first and second for the Nittany Lions. Score is 2-1. Penn State, 2 solo home runs. Michigan scored their first run a half inning ago on a Ted Burton single. Generous leadoff at second base for Billy Gerlot. The pitch from O'Halloran on the ground towards short. There's Jeffress to Burton. Over to first to Marty. A big stretch. Yes, sir. He kept the foot on the bag. That's well done by Connor O'Halloran and that Wolverine defense. And the score remains 2-1. Penn State as we head to the bottom of the fourth inning here at the University of Michigan's Ray Fisher Stadium. That was well executed. And the play at the end from Jake Marty to keep his foot on the bag was a nice little cherry on top for that play.
Certainly was. It was a hard ground ball to the shortstop's right. He was able to kind of square it up. That would be Cody Jeffress. But that's not the easiest throw when you're trying to throw it over to the second. It's a little sidearm. The balance is a little off because you're moving a little bit right, throwing it left. But it's not a flip. It's not a toss. It's one of those sidearm throws. So to get that on target, and then Burton caught it sort of by his face, which is a good spot to be, but I think he slipped a little bit when he stepped on the bag, and then kind of had to just pure arm strength, use pure arm strength to get the ball over to first, and then Marty
It was tailing away from Jake.
Certainly was. So excellent double play there, and good job by O'Halloran because started with the walk, made the error, stayed patient, let his defense make the plays through the pitches, through the strikes that helped Michigan get out of that inning.
And important, too, he was still trusting those pitches that he's been working with all day, pretty much that fastball slider change. He was throwing all three throughout that process. So the lead remains 2-1. The 6-4-3 double play got Michigan out of the top of the fourth inning after a slow start to the frame for O'Halloran. But this solid duel between O'Halloran and Outerkirk continues as Joey Velasquez steps into the box to lead off for the Wolverines. First pitch he sees is a fastball low, and Joey kind of golf swings at it for strike one. Joey was Michigan's first base runner of the game, ended up being stranded at second base after a walk, fastball low and outside. Penn State in their all gray uniforms today with the Navy caps. Michigan and they're all whites with the Navy caps. The 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Low and outside fastball at 92 from the 6'9" Outerkirk. .188 average on the season for Michigan's right fielder. The 1-2. Fastball low and in. Boy, Outerkirk thought he had it. Retrieves the ball back from his catcher, Bramley, who's been roughed up a bit in this game off some foul tips from Michigan bats. From the left side, a slight bend in the knees from Velasquez. The 2-2 pitch is left outside. There's the slider. Outerkirk didn't hit with that pitch in the third, and he's now struggled with it 2 times here in the fourth inning. After the first 2 frames, he threw that pitch flawlessly. A slow step onto the rubber, holds the glove right in front of the belt loop. The 3-2 pitch. High into the air, right field off the bat of Velasquez. Back goes Gerlot. Track wall. That ball's gone. A solo shot for Joey Velasquez. Strength has never been the question for that kid, and he knocks this game up at 2. It just kind of kept carrying and carrying and carrying. And Joey's got his first bomb of 2023.
Yeah, it looked like a changeup that Outerkirk kind of left up in the zone. He hasn't located that pitch very well. He's been trying to locate it bottom down and away to lefties and left that one up. And with that wind blowing out to right.
Jake Marty steps in the box, taps a bunt left side. Charging is a third baseman Kaler, and it's not in time. It was a strung throw to first. They challenged the speed of Jake Marty. And all of a sudden, momentum for Michigan has swung heavily in their favor.
Well, that was an excellent bunt there by Jake Marty. Challenged the third baseman, Kaler over there, and caught Penn State off guard, right? And that's kind of the process of being a good hitter is knowing when to drop one of those down, kind of steal a base runner here for the Wolverines.
So here's the transfer from Michigan State, Gabe Sotrace. .210 average on the season with a runner on first base. Slider misses low. Right at the shoelaces of the right-handed bat. Ball, no strikes. The pitch to Sotrace is fouled back to the screen. Solid lead over at first base for Jake Marty, and he is certainly a threat to steal. He's 2 for 3 on the season. It's a quick delivery home on the slide step from Outerkirk. The 1-1. Oh, inside, it hits Sotrace. Got him right on the forearm. They will check on him quickly. And the Michigan catcher will make his way down to first. Still no one out. And Michigan's got runners on first and second base as there is some slow action down in the Penn State bullpen, but they certainly trust the graduate student from Virginia, Daniel Outerkirk, to get them through this. It's a 2-2 game after the Joey Velasquez solo home run, and Mitch Voigt squares to bunt on pitch number 1. Solid bunt left side. Outerkirk, ranging to his left, is not going to make the play. No one was home in that vacated area between third base and the pitcher's mound, and Outerkirk was not able to get over there quick enough. That's a big body moving a long way to make a play on a bunt.
Yeah, that was an excellent bunt there by Voigt. Typically, defenses are going to have their first baseman come in those situations, as Penn State did. Third baseman should stay back, play the bag. Voigt dropped it down, had some weird check spin on it with this turf out here, and Outerkirk was unable to make that play. It kind of spun away from him, and Michigan's in an excellent spot here. I wouldn't be shocked if this little timeout here for the Nittany Lions is just, 1, to try and calm Outerkirk down, but 2, try and get the bullpen warm up going a little bit quicker here, as he's found himself in some trouble, and it's been mostly because of his inability to locate as well as he did in those first few innings.
So in steps the freshman from Brookfield, Wisconsin, Jonathan Kim. A week ago today was 4 for 4 against Bradley with a double, as the base is loaded here for the first time in his Michigan career. Takes a fastball in on the hands for ball 1. He's been good with runners on base and in scoring position. With runners in scoring position, that's 1 for 3. The 1-0 pitch swung on and missed. Fastball in the outer part of the plate. Runner on third base is Jake Marty. He reached on a bunt. Gabe Sotrace was hit by a pitch. He stands on second. Over on first is Mitch Voigt. Penn State plays corners in with no outs. 2-2 ball game here from Ray Fisher. Fastball, boy, right down the middle. Jonathan Kim takes for strike 2.
Yeah, that's a pitch you're not going to get again. That's one where you just try and lift it out to right field, get the runner in scoring position to score there.
Outerkirk, a big deep breath. Here's the 1-2. Kim takes, slider low and away, down to the knees goes Bramley, and he swallows it up. Count is all leveled up at 2-2 at the top of the order. Due up here for Michigan. Cody Jeffress got the fun started in the third inning with a double. The 2-2 lifted into the air left field. Charging is Kelly. He will not make the grab. It falls right in front of him. 1 run will score. Marty is in. And the runner over to third is Sotrace. Michigan keeps them loaded, and they take the lead here in the bottom of the 4th.
Yeah, an excellent job by Kim there. Just fastball kind of got up in on his hands. He just sort of flipped it out to left field. I think the wind knocked that down a little bit as well, and fell in front of the left fielder Kelly out there. And Michigan looks to keep it rolling here.
Here comes Rob Cooper for Penn State. Outerkirk frustrated over on the bump. Tightly holding on to that baseball, but what a well put together inning for Michigan. Penn State's got a lefty up and loose, but by the way they're throwing down there, nowhere close to being ready. It's Jordan Morales, the senior left-hander. So Rob Cooper buying the Penn State bullpen some time here. This is now the second visit he's made in 2 innings. And it gets funnier every time that we see the Nittany Lions gather together on the mound, with Outerkirk standing at 6'9" and just hovering over the rest of the infielders and his coach.
Yeah, those luscious golden locks flung out the back of the cap as well.
If you've seen Thor, you'd know exactly what we're talking about.
Precisely. It's quite the image there. Let's see if he can locate here. I'm sure coach is out there just telling him, hey, ground ball towards anybody in the infield, we get 2 outs or the run doesn't score. So deep breath, let's locate.
Here's Cody Jeffress for Michigan. First pitch fastball, not located well. It missed way outside. Jeffress 1 for 2 today, playing in his first Big Ten Conference game after transferring from San Diego. The 1-0 pitch. Way inside. The slider. He's lost full command of that pitch after you and I were raving over that thing in the first 2 frames of this game for the big pitcher. Now 2-0 with Cody. 14 RBIs on the season, has a chance to load that up right here. He takes ball 3 on a fastball at 93, about halfway up the shins.
I'd expect a take here.
Left-handed batter Cody Jeffress has the bat on his shoulder, now waves it around. 3-0 from Outerkirk. Right down Broadway for strike 1.
And there it is. Jeffries is the RBI leader for this Wolverine team. Not trying to do a whole lot here. Just get something in the air to the outfield. Score a run.
3-1 pitch from Outerkirk. Line drive left field, and that's going to sail foul into the empty Michigan bullpen down the left field line.
But I like the approach there from Jeffries. More of a shorter, compact swing, just trying to lift the ball into the air, let the wind kind of drift it out to the outfield. Not trying to clear the bases with the triple, just trying to get a run in here for the Wolverines.
Bases juiced, 3-2 lead for Michigan. The pitch is ball 4. I didn't miss by much, but it missed by about half a ball's width.
Wow.
And in to score is Gabe Sotrace.
How about the eye there? From where we're located, that looked like it caught the inside half of the plate. Just missed inside, and this will be the end of Outerkirk's night here.
He fought back from down 3-0 through a looking strike and then a foul ball to Cody Jeffress. And Jeffress was able to pull a walk to make the score 4-2. Michigan has put 3 across here in the bottom of the 4th inning, giving their starting arm Connor O'Halloran the lead for the first time. We'll meet the new Penn State pitcher after Rob Cooper hands the ball off to him right when we come back on WCBN. It's exactly the way Michigan drew it up, isn't it?
Certainly is. They've been patient. Outerkirk struggled with location. They've understood that, and they've recognized that when he is missing, it's either off the plate or too much over the plate. And they've made him pay. They've done an excellent job. They've got a great opportunity here. Bases loaded, no outs. To try and add some more runs to their lead and give O'Halloran a bigger lead here. Ideally, you'd like to get 1, 2, 3 runs from this. 2 especially, just you try sacrifice an out for a run here. But we'll see. This will be a big adjustment. Sort of a smaller lefty here on the mound for Penn State.
A full foot shorter. Jordan Morales.
Yeah, different arm slot, different everything here.
So as Morales gets his warm-up pitches in, bit of a slow start for Michigan today at the plate, but all it took was one big swing from Joey Velasquez to tie this thing up. You could even throw it back to the double by Cody Jeffress, who just drew the walk. And him eventually being able to score on the Ted Burton single. But I think the swing from Joey Velasquez was what really put a jolt into this team if it wasn't that 6-4-3 double play to end the top of the 4th.
Well, yeah, they're turning a little bit more of a basketball term, but turning some defense into offense, right? Baseball's a big game of momentum. Michigan scores a run there in the bottom of the 3rd. O'Halloran, a little bit of a shaky start to the top of the 4th, but they end it with that really solid double play. Great play by everybody involved in that. And then they've piled up 3 runs here so far with the chance at more. And you can see the potential with this Michigan team, right?
So now Michigan will welcome the first bullpen arm for Penn State today. The senior left-hander, 5'9", from Southerton, Pennsylvania, Jordan Morales. In the middle of the rubber, throws home to Tito Flores. Laces a line drive up the middle, but right at the center fielder, Piacentino, and one run will score. Mitch Voigt is in for Michigan. The runners at first and second stay home, and the Wolverines have snagged a 5-2 edge.
That's exactly what Flores was trying to do there. Just get some to the outfield, get that sac fly. And unfortunately for him now, that's two lineouts that happened that were hit hard and right at outfielders. He's got to be feeling like today is just not his day at the plate.
You'll play team baseball over that any day right now. So Ted Burton, who has the first RBI of the game for Michigan, ropes one down the left field line. That's going to score at least one. Around third comes Jonathan Kim. Heading into third base is Jeffress. And Ted Burton finds second base for the second consecutive inning. 6-2 Mason Blue.
Well, the change in speed here is drastic. That was an 82-mile-an-hour. Looked like a little bit of a curve for Morales that just got roped down that left field line, ran to the wall, and Michigan's doing an excellent job of piling it on here, piling it on Penn State here while they've got them down. We'll see if Longo can keep his hot hitting up.
Certainly not the typical amount of warm-up time for Morales. He throws a breaking ball in there for a strike. High in the zone to Joe Longo. 2 flyouts today for Joe. The 0-1 pitch. Right over the middle of the plate, and Longo just misses it. Fastball there from Morales. Back in 2022, Morales tied the 7th most appearances in a season for Penn State with 26. The 0-2 pitch. Fouled off. Good patient batting there from Joe Longo. He waited and waited on that pitch. Much different than the speed that Outerkirk was throwing at. Different size, different velocity. Good change of pace for Penn State. Michigan finding it pretty well. Ball bounces away from the catcher. Here comes the runner, Jeffress. He scores. Burton is over to third, and an errant throw from the catcher, Bramley, after not being able to stop it, scores Michigan's 7th run.
It's a good pitch. It wasn't as competitive as Morales would have liked and Penn State would have liked. Got Longo to check his swing though, and then just poor block there by Bramley behind the plate.
So the count is now 1-2. Joe Longo waits. The infield is playing in for Penn State. Drives one deep in the left field off the bat of Longo. Back goes Kelly, and he'll watch it fly for a home run. Electricity around second base for Joe Longo, and Michigan has piled it on Penn State here in the 4th.
The fastball up and in. And when you've seen Outerkirk throw 95 for a little bit, 87 upstairs doesn't feel like anything too fast or dangerous. And Longo just pulled that just over the pole.
Michigan has hit 2 bombs in this frame, and the man who hit the first steps into the left-handed batter's box here. Joey Velasquez takes ball 1. Pitch that looked like it was right over the middle of the plate. And the slowest one thrown today by any pitcher at 77 miles an hour. The 1-0. Tapped foul right side. So Michigan has now batted around in this inning with only 1 out. That was Tito Flores, a line drive RBI to center field. Here's the 1-1 to Joey. Fastball low and away at 88. It's good velocity change for Jordan Morales. He's just leaving that thing right over the plate right now, and Michigan certainly punishing the senior pitcher. On the ground, without much of a bounce, right in between the legs, Steele picks it up and steps on first for the second out of the inning.
Yeah, you mentioned the velocity change, and I think going from Outerkirk to Morales here clearly has helped Michigan. But when you've seen 95, it makes seeing 88 that much easier. And Morales hasn't really found his rhythm yet. Michigan's made him pay.
So Jake Marty batting from the right side takes strike one, low and in. Here down to the bullpen on Michigan side, and Connor O'Halloran is out there throwing for Michigan. He has been in there for a long time. The 0-1. Fastball right at the elbow of Jake Marty. He misses it by about half an inch, and the count is now 1-1. 8 runs here in the bottom of the fourth for the Wolverines. The score is 9-2. 1-1. Tapped right side. Marty's got a lot of speed. Steele charges. He will tag Jake Marty, and he is out at first base. Jake tried to slide to the right side of the bag, but an encouraging round of applause for the maize and blue from the faithful in attendance here today. Michigan puts 8 on the board in the bottom of the fourth inning, taking the lead for the first time, and then exploding right after that. 9-2 Wolverines. Now for the mentality of Connor O'Halloran, Dan. We saw him down there throwing very lightly. He wasn't pitching. He was throwing very lightly, but you've just seen your team go out there and certainly help you out. They scored 8 runs. Now you get to go back out there after a long pause, and you and I have been around the game for a while. We're college students, but we've been around the game for a while, and we know the game. But if you're Connor O'Halloran, you got to be thinking, number one, thank you. And number two, just got to get back to what I've been doing.
Certainly, and I think he can feel a little bit looser out there. Obviously, he should be confident with how he's pitching. He's only made probably 2 or 3 mistakes today in pitch selection or pitch execution. But finding that balance of throwing, staying loose, staying ready to go, and pitching with confidence is difficult. And now with a 7-run lead, I think you'll see O'Halloran continue to pound the strike zone and feel confident that his defense is going to be able to pick him up. Because at this point, it's just, again, it's trying to get the guys behind you back up to the plate and see if they can keep adding runs here. 'Cause to your point earlier, team game, and if your job is to only go 5 innings, but give the guys a lot of momentum at the plate and help them keep that momentum and get 10 plus runs, then you're doing something right.
So Penn State now hoping for a complete reset. They held the lead through 3.5 innings of play. Then Michigan's offense wanted to knock on the door and say hello. Designated hitter Bobby Marsh leads off for Penn State against Connor O'Halloran, lefty on lefty, fastball strike one.
See a bit of a dip in velocity there, though, for O'Halloran. Still probably shaking off a little rust from that long inning.
The 0-1 pitch is squibbed foul towards the Michigan dugout. Quickly 0-2. Marsh was struck out back in the second to end that inning. I mean, Connor O'Halloran was in that dugout for Michigan for 25 minutes. Eventually had to go throw some warm-up pitches. That's a beautiful pitch on the outside corner. Fishing goes Marsh, and he is struck out for the second time here today.
Yeah, an excellent start from O'Halloran. 2 great pitches to get it to 0-2, both of them strikes. Maybe not the same velocity, but perfect location execution, and then to follow it up with that breaking ball down and away. Quick out for the Wolverines.
Lefty, lefty, lefty. Here in the fifth for Penn State. First pitch, chopped towards second. Beautifully played by Burton. And an easy throw to first base to Jake Marty retires Anthony Steele. 8, 9, and 1 was the order due up for Penn State here in the fifth.
I'd expect Hannon to take until he sees a strike here. Penn State's got 4 and a bit innings, still kind of battle back into this game, but only made O'Halloran throw 4 pitches here so far this inning.
First pitch to Hannon. There's a strike on the outside corner. You and I were talking about it a bit. It's a slider curveball combination for Connor O'Halloran. I think it's pretty much just whatever he feels like throwing at the time. The 0-1, is fouled back right behind us to put Hannon in an 0-2 hole with 2 outs here in the fifth.
Yeah, and O'Halloran's done everything he's supposed to do, which is throw strikes and let his defense make plays. And if guys swing and miss at stuff out of the zone, they swing and miss. Excellent job here of getting back to where he was before.
Here's the 0-2 from Connor. Check to swing. Did he go? Yes, sir, he did. Check down to the third base umpire, Thomas Burrell Jr. And Connor O'Halloran, a flawless inning here in the fifth, responding to the strong offense Michigan put together in the bottom of the fourth. Let's see what the Wolverines have in store for us here in the fifth. 9-2 Wolverines, Penn State and Michigan on WCBN Sports Radio. That's a response, isn't it?
Certainly is, and for O'Halloran, it's precisely what his team needed him to do. Just go out there, continue to throw strikes, continue to make Penn State put the ball in play, and try and speed this game up from a Michigan and Penn State perspective, because obviously, from Michigan's perspective, they've got the lead, they've got 9 runs. That should be enough to get you over to the game. But while the bats are feeling hot, might as well get them back up there as quickly as you possibly can. And for Penn State, right, 12 left, 12 outs left for Penn State to play with in this game. As it looks like they'll make a pitching change here as well.
Penn
But
State will have a freshman coming to the mound, Connor Throneberry. That's another big kid, man. They've got some big pitchers on their team, don't they?
they certainly do. We'll see if he's able to locate and give Michigan some trouble. And I think Penn State didn't want to go to him right here, right after the starter, just similar sizes, right? Create some similarities for Michigan, so they tried to mix it up. That backfired. But if this kid can locate, I think Michigan will have to start battling in these at-bats a little bit more.
This is just something maybe I'm noticing. Not being around baseball all that much so far this year. Watched a lot of the World Baseball Classic, watched a little college baseball and some spring training, but 2 of the 3 pitchers now for Penn State have seemed to have like lazy windups, but
Yeah,
yet they still throw the ball really hard.
right. Well, I think
Very like relaxed and laid back, and then they
yeah,
just throw that thing in there.
when you're 6'5" or 6'9", like our bank was, it's
First pitch of the inning to Gabe Sotrace misses low.
what
New
that
pitcher for Penn State is Connor Throneberry, the redshirt freshman from St. Louis, Missouri. The 1-0. Raised in the air, right center field. That's got some carry to it. Back goes the right fielder Gerlot, and he makes a snow cone catch in the deepest part of right center field to retire Sotrace.
and that wind is up there. I've been kind of mentioning it all day, and I don't think the players quite feel it because we're up here in the broadcast press area, and that kind of blocks the wind from where the direction is. But balls are really drifting out to right field, right center, and I think that one caught Billy Gerlot off by a little bit.
Mitch Voigt into the box for the Wolverines. He shoots one into center field. They're hitting the ball hard right now. Piacentino looks up. That's going to go over his head. One hop off the wall, and he will relay that into the second baseman, Hannon. It's a stand-up double for Mitch Voigt, the Wolverine third baseman. Gives Michigan their 5th extra base hit of the game.
Might as well keep striking while the bats are hot, right? That was another pitch over the middle of the plate, and excellent job by Voigt of just going with it a little bit. Hammered that out to center field, and stand-up double for the Wolverines.
Jonathan Kim is 1 for 2 today with an RBI single an inning ago. Tacked in on the Wolverine fun in the 8-run 4th inning. First pitch to him. It's right down the middle for strike 1. From our perspective here in the booth, the far left side of the rubber for Throneberry, the 0-1. Right over the middle again, and Jonathan Kim shoots it between the first and second baseman. Around third, coming home to the plate is Mitch Voigt. The throw will go into second, and the Wolverines are in double digits this afternoon. It's 10-2.
Yeah, you can see the Wolverines swinging the bats with a lot of confidence at the moment. They're getting really good pitches to hit. They're seeing them extremely well, and they're not trying to do too much with the pitch. Getting good contact on it, taking the pitch where it was located, that ball inside to a lefty, drove it to right field. Excellent piece of hitting there, Kim.
Any surprise from you that Jordan Morales only saw 5 batters?
No.
There's Cody Jeffress sliding back safely into first on a pickoff move is Jonathan Kim.
I think ideally they get more out of him, but he got shellacked while he was in there. Michigan seemed to have him teed up pretty well, so I'm not surprised to see the change here.
Good word that you picked, too. Shellacked.
It's a solid word.
Fastball misses high. To Cody Jeffress, it's 1-0. Down to the belt and home comes Throneberry. Line drive right field. That's going to fall for Jeffress. He's going to have another double today. He will make his way into second base, and being held at third base is Jonathan Kim with a lot of speed. This Michigan offense is revving right now, hitting on all cylinders. Very electric down the third baseline. And you know what would be nice for this team right now is to see Tito Flores find one fall. He's hit 2, 3 really hard hit balls today. One ground out in the first, line outs in the third and the fourth innings, but he hasn't been able to get on base.
Certainly, and Throneberry's not throwing it that hard despite his big stature. I think Flores should be able to see, he's been seeing the ball well today. We'll see if he gets lucky and gets one to drop here.
First pitch to him, low and in. Tito Flores had a sacrifice in the fourth inning. The line drive out to center field. Other than that, he's 2 for his last 19. The 1-0 pitch. Checked his swing, called for a strike anyway. It was a curveball low. Tito backs out of the box. Holds the bat in his right hand, and now steps back in. Right foot first on the left. There's the 1-1 pitch. Runners on second and third. Michigan leads 10-2. Fastball too high, right at the letters, reading Michigan in block letters in the Wolverine white uniforms today. Tito Flores, the only Wolverine to not be on base yet today. The 2-1. Takes a curveball away. Tito disagrees with the call, but it's a called strike from Jeff Day. 2 balls and 2 strikes with 1 gone.
It's a loopy curve from Throneberry. Certainly a very hittable pitch if it's up in the zone like it was there. Flores not anticipating it though.
Leveled at 2-2, the delivery. Popped up right side. Does it have the carry to get out of play? It will not. It'll be caught by the right fielder Gerlach. Here comes Jonathan Kim, and that's a sacrifice fly for Tito Flores. He's got a smile on his face as he heads back to the dugout. It was a shallow sacrifice fly. It looked like it had the carry to get out of play. But yet Gerlach was not able to make an accurate throw home. That's the second time he's missed badly on a relay throw.
Yeah, definitely not the best contact there from Flores, but with that wind drifting out to right again, that ball just kind of got up there, hung out there, stayed up, and was enough for Kim to give Michigan their 11th run of the day.
In the meantime, Cody Jeffress has moved over to third. Ted Burton takes strike 1 on a curveball low and away. Penn State's bullpen has gone quiet, so they're going to hold Throneberry here for the moment. The 0-1, beautiful pitch low in the zone, called for a strike. Ted Burton knew it right away. "11 runs on 11 hits, no errors against Penn State." The pitch from Throneberry misses way outside, and Ted Burton spits on it, steps back into the box. Penn State has 2 runs on 3 hits. Those all coming in innings 1 through 3. Connor O'Halloran's been very good today. The 1-2 pitch. That's fouled off. Slightly down the first base line and back into the parking lot where it likely shattered a windshield. I feel like you got to bring that up at least once on every broadcast here. The windshield watch.
Yeah, plenty of cars' windshields to get shattered down that right field line.
They never learn either. The 1-2. That's a breaking ball that sends Bramley down to his knees. 2-2.
Well, at this point, if you're Throneberry, you got to be thinking, I'm trying to strike him out right here. No need to mess around with changing eye levels or anything.
He's thrown the fastball low in the zone pretty well. Here's the 2-2. Fastball low in the zone, but he missed it. That was a pretty similar spot to the one Ted Burton watched for strike 2. Must have been just a hair lower. 3 balls and 2 strikes with 2 gone here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Michigan has scored all of their runs in the 3rd inning and beyond. The 3-2 pitch. Ball 4 outside. Ted Burton, a very patient at bat, is rewarded with a walk.
You can see how well Michigan is seeing the ball come out of these Penn State pitchers' hands, specifically Thornberry, Morales. Obviously, it's different than Outer Kirk, the starter, but a lot of confidence brimming for these Wolverines at the moment.
Now, you mentioned Michigan scoring 3 runs off Morales as a win. Longo looks at a breaking ball low for ball 1. They ended up just piling it on after Outerkirk exited. I think he had more in him. Penn State saw Michigan have the hot hand at the plate. There's a called strike low and in, and Rob Cooper pulled him from the game. I think it ended up being a bad decision for them because of the success that Outerkirk had, but he lost that slider. I think that was the big problem for him, the 1-1. Loopy breaking ball misses high.
Yeah. He lost, Outer Kirk lost his location, and then I think Cooper was trying to mix it up for Michigan and brought in the complete opposite, small lefty in Morales.
The adjustment for Michigan was just superb.
Certainly was.
Called strike low and in. That last breaking ball from Throneberry was at 72. The previous low today was 77 on a breaking ball from Morales. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Joe Longo. He's 1 for 3 today. He pokes at one, fouls it off, and it hits him back in his right hand. Shakes it off, and will step back in.
It's a couple of swings today for Longo where he's just fought something off at the last second, and he's done an excellent job of doing that, just kind of reaching on those outside fastballs that are 50-50 strike calls and seeing another pitch.
Runners on the corner, Michigan 11-2. Called strike 3, low and in, and Joe Longo, with his head down, will walk back to the dugout. Michigan extends their lead again. This thing has ballooned up to a 9-run lead here from Ray Fisher Stadium in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Hitting on all cylinders right now as Connor O'Halloran is back to the mound for the Maize and Blue. No, there's at some point that a team, it's a long season. Baseball season is long. We all know that. That a team can hit their stride and really turn a season around. Season by no means is over for Michigan. In fact, it's starting today. A 9-11 record coming in. This is the type of performance that you need to have against a strong team in the Big Ten with a homestand and some pretty tough opponents coming down the stretch.
Yeah, it's certainly a statement to the Big Ten, but I think more importantly, it's a statement to Michigan themselves. It's like,
You can win games against good
right,
teams.
right, you balloon your self-confidence a little bit. And coaches are there to kind of rein in arrogance, right? As well as obviously fundamental development, things like that. But this has been an impressive showing for Michigan and one that they should feel proud of. Because it certainly wasn't the greatest start, obviously being down 2-0, a couple solo shots for Penn State. Started to feel like a lot of other games where Michigan just can't get anything going on offense. And Penn State was kind of waiting to break this game open, and then Michigan flipped the switch, started with some clutch hitting, good defense, and then they were able to take advantage of some shaky Penn State bullpen today.
So Michigan has scored 11 unanswered runs as Connor O'Halloran back out to the bump to begin the top of the 6th inning here from Ray Fisher Stadium. First pitch fastball rides inside, scooting out of the way is Johnny Piacentino. 1 for 2 today, a solo home run scored Penn State's last run in the top of the 3rd. The 1-0 pitch from O'Halloran. It's a called strike right over the dish to even it up at 1-1.
Expect a lot of patient approaches here from Penn State. Only 12 outs left to play with in this game. Need 9 runs. It's going to take time. No need to try and rush it.
The 1-1 pitch. Curveball, backdoored for a strike.
That was filthy
It
right
snaked
there.
its way in there.
Yeah, he's been starting that curve on the inside and dropping it down to righty's back foot. But there he started outside, brought it into the back corner of the plate. Excellent pitch by O'Halloran.
That's the first time they've seen that today, the 1-2. Swung on and missed. He got him with the breaking ball again. There's strikeout number 6 for Connor O'Halloran, and he has now struck out 3 of the last 4 batters he's faced. And this is where the power in the order is for Penn State, too. Piacentino, a solo home run in the third. Jay Harry, a solo home run in the first inning, which gave Penn State the lead. First pitch strike from O'Halloran on a breaking ball. It started inside on a lefty and drifted over the plate this time.
Yeah, he's starting to locate that on the right side of the plate.
The 0-1. That's high into the air, middle of the infield. Jefferson Burton fight over it, and now the center fielder Kim calls both of them off after he lost his glasses and his ball cap. So 2 away now for Billy Gerlot.
Yeah, excellent work by Kim there. Anytime an outfielder can get to a ball that's in between them and an infielder, always their ball. Excellent job being loud, clear, making sure no collisions were going to happen. And the wind switched up there actually a little bit on him when that ball was in the air. So excellent adjustment to make the play.
First pitch to Gerlot. Same exact spot, this one drifting a little towards right center. Ted Burton calls off Joey Velasquez. Joey Velasquez calls off Ted Burton and makes a catch as he almost falls over, ranging into right center field. Another quick inning for Connor O'Halloran as he looks well poised to go deep into this ball game. Wolverines lead it 11-2 on what has become a little windy, chilly afternoon here from Ray Fisher Stadium in Ann Arbor. Ever since that third inning, really ever since he went down 3-0 against the first batter in the fourth inning, which was Gerlot, who he just retired, Connor O'Halloran's been superb. He has looked like the ace of the staff, and that's exactly why he pitches on Fridays.
Yeah, he's only made 2 mistakes. And unfortunately, they were both tagged for home runs. But if you go through 6 innings and you only make 2 mistakes to guys, there's a good chance that you're going to be pitching a pretty darn good game. And he's doing so right here. Only 3 hits for a Penn State team that hits the ball really well. They've only been held on to under 6 hits in 3 games this season. Under 8 hits in 3 games this season. And O'Halloran's, he's mixing it up and he's adding layers. As the innings have gone on, he's mixed up his locations, adding new locations that Penn State batters haven't seen.
Right, like that backdoor breaking ball.
Yes, that backdoor breaking ball where kind of starts out of his left hand, stays left, and then cuts in that front side of the plate for him. It's been excellent job mixing it up. Pitch count is still low. I'd expect him to keep going for head coach to keep the bullpen fresh for more games down the stretch, but we shall see what the strategy is shortly.
Joey Velasquez leads off for Michigan, and he slaps one foul down the third baseline. Well out of play. Connor Throneberry back out to the hill for Penn State, sporting a 4.7 ERA. Second pitch fouled off right behind home plate for Joey Velasquez, who batted twice in that lengthy fourth inning. Got the fun started with a solo home run, and he was tapped for the second out of the inning with the sharp ground ball to first, the 0-2 pitch. Takes fastball inside, right at the belt loop. He just nudged out of the way. Now, Joey bats very close to home plate. He's got those football gloves on, the 1-2 pitch. Little blooper in the right field. Is that one going to fall? Yes, sir, it is. Joey Velasquez is going to try and leg this one out for 2. The second baseman, Hannon, from his knees, throws to second, and they got him on the heel of the foot.
Wow.
Nice tag by Harry, and that retires Joey Velasquez.
What an unbelievable tag that was by Harry. He knew he had no shot at getting Velasquez in any other area but the heel. And unfortunately for Velasquez, great hit. Obviously not the best contact, but a little blooper, and can live with the aggressiveness there being up 9.
So here's Jake Marty now for Michigan. He'll take ball 1 high. We're not talking enough, though, about the throw from Hannon. He was on his knees. In fact, he was on his back right knee. He used his leverage to throw to second base and just get Velasquez, and he'll have a chance here for a 4-3 putout. Slow roller to second. And a low throw over to Anthony Steele is enough to retire Marty.
And to your point about Hannon's throw from the outfield to cut down Velasquez at second there, it's tough throw, and he allowed Harry to make a play. He gave him a shot at making a play. It wasn't, right on the bag, right on the money, but it's good enough to let your shortstop be an athlete and get an out.
He gave Sotrace, a line drive right past the head of Throneberry, and it sliced into right center field. Sotrace, a large turn around first, and he'll backpedal his way back into the first base bag.
So he was feeling pretty good about himself after that hit. That was right off the center of the barrel and right back up the middle.
I'll tell you what, the Wolverines today, even outside of the home runs, I'd like to see the exit velocity on a couple of those swings, especially the ones from Tito Flores, the two line drive outs to center field. Mitch Voigt fouls strike one back to the screen.
And they are up there swinging with a lot of confidence right now.
Michigan 2 base hits in the inning. Joey Velasquez was nabbed at second, being a little aggressive. The 0-1 pitch, fastball high. Now 1-1 to Mitch Voigt, who is 2 for 3 today. He struck out to end the second inning, reached on a bunt single in the fourth, and doubled in the fifth. 1-1, swing and a miss. It's a good spot from Throneberry, low outside corner, got Voigt to chase. He's been aggressive on that outside corner today. He was very aggressive with Outerkirk's breaking ball that we talked about when he struck out earlier in the game. And there's a strikeout, fastball right by the bat of Mitch Voigt. Just a hair behind it. I think he tipped it into the glove. But we're at an 11-2 game. Heading to the top of the seventh inning. 3 innings to play here from Ray Fisher Stadium in Ann Arbor. The Wolverines putting it on Penn State. Another fun thing about having these commercial-free broadcasts is we get to talk through the fan experience aspect of these games as well. I think this one would fit you well, I think. The hula hoop contest. It's right down in front of us.
I mean, my hips do not lie. Tell you that much.
Well, if it's anything like these 4 youngsters just did, I think that I think you'd be fine.
Not the greatest song for this hula hooping.
You don't think that you think Shakira's "Hips Don't Lie" would fit better than Morgan Wallen?
I certainly do. Morgan Wallen's a good song for a baseball game, but if we're gonna feature the hula hoop contest down in front of everybody, might as well get Shakira on the loudspeakers here.
Well, I'll tell you what, for our listeners that are here right now listening to this ball game, we're going to have a substitution here for Michigan. But I should have heard Daniel Olson on the way home from one of our WCBN trips in Bloomington, Indiana. The basketball team faced off with the Hoosiers. I think it was Morgan Wallen the whole way home. Maybe a couple of throwbacks and then our stop at Cabela's.
Yes, of course.
Can't forget about the Bears.
The Bears down at Cabela's Dundee exit on
at 1 a.m.
23 going south. Yeah, they are iconic, so to speak. Needed a photo with them, and I'm glad we got one.
That was a fun trip. The team lost. It was a fun trip.
Certainly was. Assembly Hall was very
that was cool.
See for my first experience down there.
So Connor O'Halloran back out to the bump for Michigan in an 11-2 ball game. First pitch to the catcher, Thomas Bramley, is a called strike. He's got 5 multi-hit games on the season. He's got 1 hit in his back pocket today. That was to lead off the second. Fastball low and away from O'Halloran. Four-handed scoop stop by Gabe Sotrace behind the plate. Michigan has a substitution. Jake Marty is out of the game, and Jack Vanner Mortal steps into first base. Big wave and a miss from Bramley on a slower breaking ball from O'Halloran. One ball, 2 strikes. O'Halloran wipes the glove off the white jersey on his chest, The 1-2 delivery is a breaking ball in the dirt. Good stop by Sotre swallowing that one up. The weather has cooperated very well today. A bit windy, maybe a bit on the chillier side as Bramley hits one high into the air, third base side, ranging into foul territory as Mitch Voigt, and he will rein it in with the glove on his left hand. On away.
Yeah, Michigan's dealt with those infield flies very nicely today. We've talked a little bit, or at least I have, about the wind switching directions, gusting occasionally, and as a player down there, you can't really feel it. So to deal with these pop-ups as well as they have today has been a good sight to see for the Wolverines.
O'Halloran steps up to the bump. His first pitch to Ben Kaler. Called strike on the outside corner. He hasn't lost a location, has he?
He's done an excellent job of getting ahead of these hitters, especially with this 9-run lead, and that's how you speed these games up. And
The pitch to put him 3/4 of the way to 100 is in there for a strike. A breaking ball from O'Halloran right over the middle of the plate. 0-2.
just trying to make the Penn State bats beat him and not himself beat himself.
Here's the 0-2 pitch to Kaler. Outside corner, swung on and tipped into the glove of Sotrace. And Connor O'Halloran now has 7 strikeouts on the afternoon.
Yeah, he got away with that one a little bit, kind of wiped it out there, threw it with his arm a little bit more than his body, but 90 on the gun, I think probably the highest we've seen from him today, and pitch the batter couldn't lay off there.
He's now retired 9 consecutive Nittany Lions. Kelly steps in the box and shoots one right back up the middle. That's right on cue.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
A base hit for Taven Kelly, and the Nittany Lions left fielder has reached the first base runner for Penn State since the 4th inning. I was going to mention that Connor O'Halloran seemed to have taken upon himself after the error he committed back in the 4th inning to just roll through the Penn State order after he got the double play.
That is some unbelievable timing right there.
That's sports, isn't it? There's Marsh. Line drive in the left. That's over the head of Voigt. And charging is Flores. He will gather it in and toss it back to his shortstop, Jeffress, before the runner, Kelly, can advance to third. I feel like I should go out there and apologize.
Yeah.
It's not a long walk.
Well, it's a good piece of hitting by Bobby Marsh, and right there, just kind of flipped it out to left field. Pitch was up and in on him a little bit, so kind of caught him on the handle, but enough strength to kind of lift it out there and give Penn State a chance to scratch one back here.
First pitch to Steele is low and away. Stopped right in between the wickets for Sotrace. Breaking ball. Bramley popped out. Kaler struck out. Kelly a single and Marsh a single on back-to-back pitches. Puts runners on first and second for Penn State, but they trail by 9. Pitch from O'Halloran misses low and away. It's now 2-0. Michigan has had no action at all down in the bullpen on the third base side. Now Tracy Smith will make his way out to the mound. And the rest of the Wolverines will join him. A 2-0 count prior to this next pitch, and I don't think Michigan's really considering getting anyone too seriously warmed up right now.
Oh, not with the way he's going. I think this is just a reminder that one pitch and you're out of this inning, really, with 2 outs, obviously. Force play at first, second, or third for the infield, or if the ball comes back to O'Halloran himself. So just settle him down, remind him of his mechanics, what he's been doing so well, and let him get a breather here, kind of reset.
I want to make a mark, too, because I missed this. Jake Marty is now in right field, and Joey Velasquez is out of the game for Michigan. Remember, he dove into second base trying to extend a single and was tapped on the ankle. It was a bit of an odd slide, head first for Velasquez into second. So that's just worth noting for the Wolverines. A 2-0 pitch to Steele out of the break, right back up the middle, but shading towards second base was Jeffress. He'll make a throw across his body to Van Remortel, the new first baseman, and that retires the side. Penn State strands 2. Good work by Connor O'Halloran. and a fourth consecutive scoreless frame as we stretch here at Ray Fisher Stadium in Ann Arbor. Wolverines 11-2 over Penn State. I think that meeting worked out just fine.
Certainly did. Next pitch got him out of the inning. Michigan had the double play depth for the shortstop and second baseman, which means they're a little bit closer to that second base bag to make the ground ball out a little bit easier there. But play was on at first. Jeffries ranged over, comfortably made the play, and Michigan's cruising right now. I'm sure it's a nice sight for Michigan fans to see for a team that's lost back-to-back games here at Ray Fisher Stadium, and one that's kind of looking for a kickstart to their season. They won 4 in a row at one point a couple weeks ago, but gave two of them back this past week against Bradley and then Akron on midweek. So certainly been a nice jump start for them
Nice
so
change of
far
pace.
today.
So we are freshly stretched out from Ray Fisher Stadium. The score is a comfortable 11-2 lead for the Maize and Blue here in downtown Ann Arbor. We're going to get to meet a new pitcher for Penn State. Carson Coles, the junior, will step up to the bump for the Nittany Lions and Rob Cooper. Coles, a 6-footer from Sacramento, California, will be the fourth pitcher that we've seen today for the Nittany Lions. Traveling to Ann Arbor from State College, Pennsylvania, with a record of 12-5. As we've mentioned a couple of times throughout this broadcast, they've had a really good start to the year. Couple of good wins, one bad loss, you could call it. In Chapel Hill against North Carolina, they made a trip to the East Coast to play almost 2 weeks worth of games in the Tar Heel State. Jonathan Kim will lead off, and we'll watch a fastball sail high. They began that stretch in North Carolina on February 24th and played the last game on March 11th. Another fastball high to Jonathan Kim, who is 2 for 3 today. His average has climbed all the way up to 400 for Michigan. The pitch from Coles. Line drive back up the middle. This kid is swinging likely the hottest bat in the order. Him and Joe Longo are switching back and forth. I don't know who exactly wants to keep the hottest bat in the starting 9 for Michigan, but Homer Kim didn't start a lot of the year to begin, and now he is slotted into that 9 spot and batting really well.
Yeah, well, when you hit, you play, especially at these levels, and Kim is roping the baseball right now, seeing it so well for these Wolverines.
Here's Cody Jeffress in the top of the Michigan order. Shoots a line drive, left center field. Coming on is Piacentino. That ball will bounce into his hand after one bounce. And into third base goes Kim. That was awkward. But Jeffress is into second base with his third double of the ball game.
Yeah, you can get some funny hops on this turf, especially when the ball's not caught cleanly off the center of the bat like it was there for Jeffries. See Piacentino kind of trip over his feet, catch the ball barehanded out there, and Coles has not had a good year on the bump for Penn State. He's only gotten 2 outs. Big moment for him to try and find some confidence here as they look forward into the rest of this series and the rest of the Big Ten season.
Speaking of looking for confidence, here's Tito Flores. Takes a fastball way high, right at chin height for Tito, right over the middle of the plate for ball 1. Average down to 203. Ground out, line out, fly out. 2 of them being sacrifices. Hopped one foul here right behind home plate.
It's always frustrating as a hitter when you're hitting it on a rope and it's just going right to people. Because you want those hits, you want your average to increase. Obviously, you want to help your team out, and
that's something he's done obviously well in his last 2 at-bats with the sacrifices, but Now it's time to be maybe a little bit selfish, Tito. Takes a changeup right at the chin this time. 2-1. He was 0 for 4 with 4 runs scored in the loss against Akron on Tuesday. A hefty swing and a miss on a fastball on the far side of the plate. Tito batting in the right-handed batter's box just missed at it.
He's still producing for his team. That should give him some confidence, and clearly he's hitting the ball okay. He just needs to start finding some gaps here.
Here's the 2-2 pitch. Swung on and tipped into the glove for strike 3. Now a full recorded inning on the season for Coles.
Yeah, that was an excellent fastball. About 88 miles an hour up in the zone. A little bit too high for Flores there, and good pitch there from Coles.
Second strikeout of the season for Carson Coles as Ted Burton looks at a fastball high and away for ball 1. 1 out in the frame. Michigan has 2 runners on base, second and third right now. Bottom of the 7th inning. 11-2 was the lead for the Maize and Blue. Burton takes a fastball just below the hands for strike 1. Higher in the zone, but a good pitch there from Coles. Michigan has 15 hits to Penn State's 5. Burton skies one high into the air center field. This should score a run. Jonathan Kim will tag from third, and he will score. And racing into third base goes Jeffress. RBI sacrifice fly for Ted Burton as Piacentino makes the catch in center. And the Wolverines now have a 10-run lead, which matches the largest deficit of the season for Penn State, which was against North Carolina in Chapel Hill.
Michigan's done a good job of situational hitting here. They've had a lot of runners on base in scoring position, and they've been able to capitalize on a lot of them. Some of them from big hits, but also these sacrifice flies. And every run counts, and obviously in games like this, maybe not as much, but
Joe Longo 1 for 4 this afternoon. 2-run home run in that long 4th inning where Michigan played at 8. First pitch was a strike. Here's the 0-1. Line drive into left field. That's going to easily score Jeffress, and Joe Longo has his 3rd run driven in today.
yeah, fastball up in the zone over that inside part of the plate, just like he hit that home run, and Longo ropes it into left field to drive in another run. Michigan now 7 of 12 with runners in scoring position today. 16 for 32 as a team. That's how you know offensive production is at an all-time high today.
First at bat for Jack Vanter Mortal today. He steps in the spot in the lineup for Joey Velasquez, and he will fire one on the ground to second base. Hand in an easy throw over to first base for Steele. Penn State had some action up in their bullpen, but now it looks like Tulio, the pitcher, will have a bit more time to get himself situated for what looks like the bottom of the 8th. Michigan, 13 unanswered runs. They lead at 13-2 in Ann Arbor here at Ray Fisher Stadium. And this is one of those performances, Dan, that can certainly provide a spark, a surge into flipping around the season. Because this isn't the typical Michigan baseball that we've seen, especially under Eric Bakich for the last couple of years, but they've never been perfect. They've never been, that stand away #1 team in the Big Ten Conference, but Michigan baseball is still a brand name, especially after the run they made to the College World Series back in 2019, but a reset under Tracy Smith with still some talent on the team. There's no reason this team can't contend and play good baseball in the Big Ten because remember, they still won the tournament a year ago.
Yeah, this is a very, very solid team that we've seen today, right? Obviously, inconsistency has been an issue for these guys, and certainly helps when you've got your ace dealing like an ace today, and 5 hits, 2 runs for O'Halloran, and nothing for Penn State since that solo shot in the third. So he's done an excellent job of mitigating this Penn State offense and allowing Michigan to maintain momentum on offense when they've gotten it. And I think if Michigan can be a little bit more situationally sound, um, and obviously it helps when you get more performances out of your starters like this.
Connor O'Halloran back to work for Michigan here in the 8th inning, and why not Connor? Do your best to try and get yourself a complete game today. He's thrown 82 pitches for Michigan as the first pitch was fouled off the right field line for the leadoff man, Kyle Hannon. Second pitch, his fastball that rises a bit too high. He's lost a bit of velocity on that fastball, but he's still throwing it in there 86 to 89. He even reached as high as 90 last inning for a strikeout. The 1-1 pitch to Hannon. Line drive back to the screen. For a strike, 1-2. Zach Linfield here with Daniel Olson. WCBN's coverage of Michigan baseball on a gorgeous Friday afternoon. People walking around in sweatshirts rather than coats. It's a nice feeling. Backhanded stop behind the plate by Sotrace to make the count 2-2. Like some ugly weather potentially in the area tomorrow. The 2-2 pitch from Connor. Swung on and chopped towards the first base side. That's foul. About 10 strides to the left of the new first baseman, Jack Vander Mortel. Left-handed bat against left-handed pitcher. O'Halloran, the 2-2 pitch to Cannon. That's foul again. Back to the on-deck man, Johnny Piacentino. An exchange of baseballs behind home plate between the umpire and a manager for the Wolverines. Hannon is 0 for 3. He has struck out twice, once in the first, once in the fifth. Connor O'Halloran looking to put him down for a third time. Loop down the left field line. That will squeeze into fair territory. Racing in is Flores. There will be a challenge at second base. Beautiful throw from Tito. He's safe. Just got the fingertip into second base. And slow to get up is Kyle Hannon.
What a throw that was from Flores, an absolute laser. Could see how hard he was sprinting. Glasses came off, hat came off. Wild body motions, but an effective throw over there. And
we know one thing about Tito. He's certainly not shy on throwing that thing around the park. He's got a strong arm, especially when throwing into second, but we've seen a couple throws throughout these past couple of years from that kid. Into third base, into home, that have been super close. O'Halloran misses with pitch number 1 to Piacentino. Little too low, bounced into the turf, right behind home plate. Sotrace was there for the backhand. 1-0 pitch from O'Halloran. Chopped towards third base. Voigt, a strong arm exchange, picked over at first by Jack Vander Mortel. He had to swipe it up on the forehand, but that's a nice pick by the Michigan first baseman.
yeah, especially coming off the bench after 7 innings to be able to come in, make that play. Well done by Van Mortel, and good job by O'Halloran getting a quick out there to kind of reset things and get ahead of the inning, so to speak.
First pitch to the new batter, Jay Harry. Just misses a bit outside, about a ball's width off to the left-handed bat. Penn State solo home runs in the first and the third innings. They have not scored since against O'Halloran. Line drive just over the head of Burton, the second baseman. The throw in from Marty, the new right fielder. Or excuse me, Michigan's got another new right fielder. That's Greg Pace Jr. Wolverines kind of psyched us out with another one of those silent substitutions. I don't remember getting a sign from the umpire, but oh yeah, that's Greg out there rather than Jake Marty. But nonetheless, a strong throw. Runners on the corners for Penn State with one away.
Wouldn't be too surprised to see Harry try and take off here and get second, being on first base. Obviously, O'Halloran's had success with runners in scoring position this season.
Here's Gerlach, first pitch to him, breaking ball way outside. Well done by Sotrace to leave his crouch and get over there for it. The right-handed bat of Gerlach is 0 for 2 this afternoon. Ground out, walk, fly out for the Penn State right fielder. He's had a busy day in the field. The 1-0 pitch, high riser down the right field line, and it's going to miss the Cars. It's really the first time we've had
Darn.
one of those shots today.
Was hoping for a little action in the parking lot over there.
Fun for everybody, right? The 1-1. Fastball stopped nicely by Sotrace. I'll tell you what, he missed one earlier in this game that allowed a runner to advance, but he has been very strong behind the plate since then.
Certainly has been. Stayed lower, gotten that glove down early, gotten those legs down early, and I think it's allowed him to get into good positions to be able to block the ball.
2 balls and a strike from O'Halloran. The pitch bounced right in front of home plate, and it squibs off to the left for a foul ball. Count now 2-2. Connor O'Halloran sporting the white cleats with the stirrups, but some of these players going with that modern look of folding the pants over the stirrups and making it look like the pants are way too short. I don't know. Do you like the look?
Not really. I wouldn't call myself a fashionista, but that
You should see this guy in the booth right now. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Breaking ball low and in again, and squeezing out of the way is Gerlach.
what's wrong with what I
I
got
mean,
on
no,
right now?
I'm saying this is like
I got some nice khakis on. I'm feeling nice, little WCBN
no, it,
pullover
it, loo- it
representing the
looks
brand.
nice.
Thank you. I just don't have my pants like 4 inches short of my ankles there, like O'Halloran.
Here's the payoff from Connor. That's low and in. Sotrace challenged at home by the runner. He throws it back into the middle of the infield, and Connor O'Halloran took some contact to his right shin, and he's limping back to the mound. Seems all right. Nods towards the runner, Hannon, who is in there safely to make the score 13-3. How about the timing of a couple of our comments today? We just complimented Sotrace, and he's been so good. But that is ball 4 to Gerlach. Runners on first and second for Penn State, trailing by 10.
O'Halloran's done it well all day and getting out of these jams. Let's see if he can get a ground ball somewhere in the infield and get out of this inning and let the boys get to bat again.
Thomas Bramley, left-handed batter for Penn State into the box, takes ball 1 off the plate.
It's just missing ever so slightly. You can see this little bit of fatigue, I think, for O'Halloran, and
I think Michigan's going to get some real action up in the bullpen. It looks like Cam Hart is the Wolverine getting loose. Eamon Horwedel is down there too. That's the submarine pitcher for Michigan. But Cam Hart is the pitcher that looks like he's getting ready to go for Michigan. Cody Holtink is warming him up, as Tracy Smith is currently out on the mound with the Wolverines gathered around their starting pitcher Connor O'Halloran, who has now thrown 97 pitches this afternoon. Season high 114 1 week ago today in the 8-4 win over Bradley. He's gone over 100 pitches in at least 3 of his 5 appearances so far this season, all being starts. And unfortunately, we don't have the pitch count for TCU, but he struck out 10 over 7 innings of work back on March 3rd. And I would assume that was also a 100-plus pitch game for Connor and his only loss of the season, the 1-0 pitch. That's way too high, 2-0.
yeah, I'd expect this to be his last inning, maybe his last batter if he can't get him out, but his inning to finish if he can do it in these next 2 batters here.
Certainly been different for Connor. His first game allowing an earned run Since that TCU game on March 3rd, driven high into the air, deep right center field. Back goes Kim and Pace. They're chasing it. Pace back to the wall. It's going to bounce off the wall. This is going to score 2 for Penn State. 1 run is in. Gerlach coming home and staying at third, actually, is Gerlach. He had to retreat because Penn State didn't know if the ball was caught or not. And Bramley is safely into second with a stand-up double. So they had to wait on the result of Kim and Pace both giving chase in right center field. And Penn State only scores 1 there.
It was a curveball that just kind of got hung up over the plate there, and Bramley made O'Halloran pay.
So now into the box is Ben Kaler. Struck out his last time up, and O'Halloran just doesn't really have the command he had in the first 7 innings of this game. Count is 1-0 after the breaking ball chops into Sotrace. Longest inning for the Wolverines now in the field. 269 average for Ben Kaler as he sees a breaking ball into the back door for a strike.
And that was a very nice pitch there. Well executed, that backdoor slider, curveball that he's gone to these last couple innings.
A ball and a strike from O'Halloran. Fastball is laced in the left field, but right at Flores. They're going to challenge the arm of Tito. Not a good choice because he throws it into the infield for Mitch Voigt and keeps the runner at bay at third base. Well, they saw the arm from Tito an inning ago on the throw into second, and they said, I'd rather not this time. So now 2 away for Taven Kelly.
Yeah, Kyler just didn't get enough lift on that to be able to score the runner from the third. It's hit right at Flores, who which made it very easy for him to crow hop and throw it in.
Kelly is 1 for 3, swings and misses at the first pitch. I would expect Michigan's dugout to go and give O'Halloran a very receptive welcome back to the dugout if he's able to put Kelly away. 1 strike in the count. His pitch is fouled back 0-2. Cam Hart down in the bullpen for Michigan awaiting. Runners on second and third base for Penn State. Gerlot's at third, Bramley at second. The score is 13-4. Michigan had scored 13 unanswered runs up until here, the top of the 8th. Penn State has scored 2. The 0-2 pitch from O'Halloran. Fastball way high. Michigan's defense playing straight up, a little shallow in center for Jonathan Kim. Greg Pace about 40 feet in from the right field wall. Same with Flores in left. The 1-2 pitch is a breaking ball scooped up by Sotrace, shifting to his right. Taven Kelly is a staple in the bottom of this order for Penn State. He tied 8th most triples all time in a season for Penn State a year ago with 4. The 2-2, fastball high and away.
Not the batter you want to lose if you're O'Halloran. Got great start with 2 well-executed pitches to get to 0-2 and 3 overthrows these past 3 pitches. Let's see if he can settle down and make one more good pitch.
Runners on second and third. The payoff pitch from O'Halloran in the 8th. Popped up right side of the infield. Greg Pace also giving chase to it towards the infield. He will make the catch. And that will likely be the end of the day for the junior left-hander from Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. Well, he doesn't get the double-digit strikeouts that he's been used to these last couple of starts, but he retires the side. 2 runs on board for Penn State. 13-4 is the Michigan lead as we head to the bottom of the 8th inning here in Ann Arbor. Quality start for that kid if he doesn't finish the 9th inning.
Certainly was. He had his stuff going early. Fastball, strike out the first batter of the day, and started mixing in that changeup, mixing in that curveball, that breaking ball, locating it both inside to righties, dropping it onto their back foot and outside to lefties early, and then switch it to the other half of the plate late, get that backdoor action going, and It's really had Penn State on their heels all day. And while Penn State has gotten to that 8-hit mark that they've gotten to in most of their games, they've been pretty benign hits here as the game has gone on. Aside from those 2 solo shots, not a whole lot going for those Nittany Lion bats.
So Penn State will have a new pitcher in the game. They will also have a new catcher, as Jay Harry will shift from shortstop to behind the plate. And we'll wait to see who exactly is over at short for the Nittany Lions. But the new pitcher for Penn State is Chad Rogers. Rogers is a 6'5" junior from Mentor, Ohio, Mentor High School. And it also looks like the Wolverines will have a new batter. Casey Buckley will lead off the inning. And here's the fun part about college sports, Dan. We were completely wrong. Jay Harry is going to stay at shortstop, and Penn State's got a second number 1 playing in the game. Tyson Cooper is the catcher. Michigan will bat Greg Pace Jr., his first at-bat of the game, in place of Jake Marty, and Casey Buckley is on deck. So that makes sense from a catcher standpoint for Michigan. First pitch was a strike. Greg Pace Jr. now fouls a short chopper down the third base line for a second foul ball. Count is 0-2. So we've got 2 number 1s in the game right now for Penn State. Slider low and outside from the new pitcher for the Nittany Lions, Chad Rogers. 1-2 pitch. That miss is low. Two balls and 2 strikes with Greg Pace Jr. batting 146 this season. Freshman outfielder checked his swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. Jeff Day won't even allow an appeal down to first base.
It's a really nice pitch from Rogers. Breaking ball outside half of the plate. Clearly competitive as Pace Jr. thought it would catch a bit of that strike zone and broke away from him. And excellent pitch. Easy first out for the Nittany Lions.
So Greg Pace is down, and now Casey Buckley will have his first at-bat of the game. Sky to pop up left side, ranging out a play. Cam Hart tried to make the grab in the dugout for Michigan. Missed pretty badly. That's why you stick to pitching. Casey Buckley batting 1 of 10 on the season, 100 even batting average. Fastball just rides over the shoelaces of what is now the Michigan catcher. One ball and 1 strike, working from the far right side. From our perspective, Cooper misses at the same exact spot. 2 balls and a strike. Chad Rogers into his motion and throws home. He's hit that same exact spot now 3 consecutive times. The count is 3-1.
If you're Buckley here, why not be aggressive? 9-run lead, 3-1 count. Should see a fastball some part of the plate. Why not give it a rip?
3 balls and a strike with the left-handed bat of Casey Buckley facing the right-handed Rogers. Takes ball 4. Guess where? Low and in. Bounces away from the catcher Cooper. And Michigan has a base runner here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Mitch Voigt struck out in his last at-bat in the 6th inning in between a strikeout In the second, a single and a double. He scored both times. First pitch to him, right in between the legs of Cooper, the new catcher. And Casey Buckley will glide into second base standing up. Only the third appearance of the season for the new pitcher, Chad Rogers, this year. 1-0 pitch is way low.
It's been his miss so far. Seems to just be a little late on his release. I'd like to see him extend his leg more on that drive down the mound and should elevate his pitches a little bit.
Big lead at second base for Buckley as Voigt fouls one down the right field line in towards the parking lot.
Nothing.
Now, in games like this, where the lead is quite a bit, it's kind of stuff we got to talk about. Is the show that happens down the right field line at Ray Fisher Stadium. The 2-1. High fly ball into right. That's got some carry to it. Gerlach looks up. He's at the track, and he makes the catch into the corner. Advancing from second to third goes Casey Buckley. High IQ base running as Mitch Voigt almost poked one out. That's a second out of the eighth inning.
Certainly did. That was the spot. That's the spot to hit a home run today. Wind's blowing that direction. Blowing pretty hard, too, even though the players, as I've mentioned a couple times, can't feel it down there. But good effort there. Good base running, as you mentioned, to get from second to third on the sac fly. And another chance here to tack one on for the Wolverines.
Michigan will have another pinch hitter, Brandon Lawrence. We'll get an at-bat here. This is the first time in 2 full weeks that Rogers has taken the mound, so without game reps, especially against a lineup that can hit the ball with Michigan. Maybe some nerves surrounding getting back out there to the mound, but this is your time to prove it, to get yourself into the rotation of bullpen arms as a strike is thrown right over the middle of the plate.
Yeah, to prove it and to just find some confidence for yourself as a pitcher. Find some feels that work and run with them.
Here's the 1-1 to Brandon Lawrence, scooped up nicely by Cooper.
Yeah.
Now just 2-1. Brandon Lawrence has good speed in the box. No chance for a sacrifice here with Casey Buckley over at third and 2 outs in the frame. 2-1 pitch to Lawrence. Low and outside again to this right-handed bat. It's been low and into the lefties this inning for Rogers. His next pitch will be the 15th here in the bottom of the eighth inning.
Sort of rushing that lower half, not completing that stride down the mound, and arms getting out ahead of him a little bit, allowing him to miss low and left.
3-1 pitch taken for ball 4. This one low and into the righty. So he broke the trend. Brandon Lawrence reaches here.
Keeps missing low. It's almost like he needs to sit in a chair a little bit more on his way down that pitching mound. Sort of feel those legs kind of drop to the ground, so to speak, and really stride out and let that arm then rotate and that torso, that upper body rotate around that front leg. And I think he'll get a little bit more conviction on his pitches and hit some better locations.
Michigan will have a pinch runner. Robert Pitts Jr. is now over at first, taking over for Brandon Lawrence. First pitch to Cody Jeffress, who is still in the game leading off for the Maize and Blue. Is a ball way too low. 3 for 4 today, 3 runs scored. Wolverines 13-4 from Ray Fisher. Line drive, right field, right at the right fielder, Gerlach. And he takes one step in to retire the side. So no runs scored. In relief, Chad Rogers for Penn State puts a 0 on the board. Michigan will go to the pen for the first time to try and put away Penn State in the top of the 9th inning from Ray Fisher Stadium here in Ann Arbor. So we've had our fun in our scorebook today. Lots of runs scored, plenty of changes, and that's all just to mess with us. It's the fun part about what we do, isn't it?
It certainly is. Good to watch the ball game, though.
That and technical issues,
Yes.
which we've had none today.
Yeah, it's been good. It's always nice when things go the way they should, as they have for the Michigan Bats today. And honestly, O'Halloran as well. He's had a great day. Obviously, pitching change up here for the Wolverines, but
Well, you were a last second fill in here for us today.
I was. I
Beats sitting on your couch and watching some basketball, doesn't it?
uh well, yeah. Yeah. I've certainly enjoyed being here. Obviously, March Madness going on. My bracket's still hanging on, which is nice. But me changing the game, me watching those games isn't really going to change the outcome, so I can watch the highlights
How's
later,
your bracket doing?
gather some experience here. Three Final Four teams still hanging on.
Okay. Who's your champion?
I have Houston winning the national
Houston.
title.
All right.
They play later today, I believe, which
Yep.
be a big game for me. Gonzaga beating UCLA was clutch. Got that region Elite Eight right with
That was a
UConn.
heck of a game, too.
Certainly was. UCLA had a couple chances to put it away, and Gonzaga did as well. Big shot. Too bad no onion called, but
I
Raftery
know you
wasn't
would have
on
been
that
all over
game.
that.
Yes, I certainly would have. One of the best, Bill Raftery.
I think you've channeled your inner Bill Raftery here today for a 13-4 baseball game at Ray Fish.
Yeah, he's one of my commentary icons, I
Mm.
suppose. Model my craft after him, so to speak.
Well, as we were mentioning, Michigan's got a new pitcher on the mound for the first time today. Connor O'Halloran's day is done. Enter Cam Hart, a 23-year-old native of Mount Clemens, Michigan, Armada High School. First pitch to Marsh is a called strike on the outside corner at 87 miles an hour.
Exactly what Hart's supposed to do here. Just keep throwing strikes.
Bobby Marsh is 1 for 3. Struck out in his first two at-bats, then singled off of O'Halloran in the seventh inning. Shoots a fly ball foul down the third base Michigan side. Quickly 0-2. Hart only with 3 1/3 innings pitched on the season, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 2 Ks. The 0-2. Casey Buckley was standing behind home plate, waiting for the pitch, high and outside, 1-2.
Not a bad miss though with the fastball. Kind of changes the eye of the hitter. He's seen some speed. He's seen it away. Now I wonder if they kind of from this righty kind of come with that curveball to drop on the back foot of the lefty batter.
There's the 1-2 from Hart. Swing and a miss. A beautiful breaking ball low and in. And he has gathered his third strikeout of the season.
Well, what a call by me. Did you look at that? Back foot
You were
curveball.
right again? No way.
Got him swinging. Just give myself a little pat on the back for that one.
Penn State will have pinch hitter here, CJ Pitaro. Only 5 at-bats on the season, and he takes a called strike on the outside part of the plate.
Yeah, Hart's located really well so far. Only thrown 5 pitches, but that fastball has found that outer part of the plate. Half a ball on, half a ball off. Gets that strike looking.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. Check to swing. Didn't go. Location was pretty good too there from Cam Hart on a 76-mile-an-hour curveball. Pitaro Jr. hailing from Hamilton, New Jersey. Transfer from Powerhouse Vanderbilt. The 1-1. High into the air, shallow left field. Michigan giving chase. Flores, Jeffress, and Voigt, and eventually Jeffress makes the catch. Tito Flores called him off. Takes a long stare back towards his teammate. They'll give each other a high five and a slap on the backside. And there's 2 away here in the ninth.
It's all good now that the ball was caught,
Right.
obviously, but those are the dangerous plays where the ball just gets really high, the wind's blowing a little bit, kind of goes farther than the infielders might think, towards their back, and outfielders come in, and Excellent catch by Jeffries.
First pitch from Hart is way inside to Kyle Hannon. Had to do the jiggy to get out of the way. Bounced all the way back to the backstop. Breaking ball. The bounced right by the new catcher for Michigan, Casey Buckley. Flores in left, Pace in center, Pitts in right. Manor Mortal, the only other substitution for Michigan over at first. That was back in the 7th. Fastball misses high and away from Cam Hart. Hart's a big guy too, 6'4", 210 pounds. Seen plenty of bigger pitchers today. Fastball in the outside corner for a called strike. We started with Outerkirk for Penn State, 6'9", 255. Transitioned over to 6'4", 5'9". Fastball high and away. So Morales was obviously the outlier in height out of this Penn State crew on the pitching side today, because everyone else was over 6'3". 3 balls in a strike to Kyle Hannon, the leadoff man for Penn State. He takes a strike on the outside corner.
That was really, really good location there. He's been painting that outside corner to lefties really well so far, his Hart. See if he's got one more in him.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 away in the 9th. Michigan 13-4. Fastball way too high. Ball 4. Kyle Hannon extends the game for at least one more batter.
Hart got a little excited on that pitch. Body rotated out of the way a little too quickly. Arm couldn't quite keep up. That's how you get that ball up and away. And no worries, no harm. But can certainly sense the excitement from Hart, and it's what caused that errant fastball on the 3-2.
Piacentino steps into the box on the right-handed side and stares at strike 1. Fastball right over the middle of the plate. 292 average on the season. Home run earlier in this game. He flies one in the left field. Here comes Tito Flores. Loses his cap again. Makes the catch in that teal glove. And that's going to do it. Michigan victorious 13-4 over Penn State here from Ray Fisher Stadium in Ann Arbor. And a superb performance today. Of course, by the starting pitcher for the Wolverines, but also by the bats. The Michigan offense started in the 3rd inning, piled it on in the 4th, and added 4 more along the way to move themselves to 1-0 in Big Ten play to start conference season baseball here from Ann Arbor at Ray Fisher Stadium. And it doesn't get better than that to start the year in the Big Ten.
No, it certainly doesn't. Obviously, the offense was working well. We're able to capitalize with runners in scoring position, and then you got an excellent performance from Connor O'Halloran, who through 7 innings had made 2 mistakes. 8th inning got a little bit away from him. I think he got a little bit tired there, but managed the game really well. I thought Michigan did an excellent job in situational moments. They got on with some bunts, scored runs with some sacrifice flies, and when you can execute like that in games like this, it gives you confidence going forward that in tighter games you'll be able to do the same things. So well done today for Michigan, um, and they'll look to keep handing it to Penn State these next couple of games with the confidence that they've got.
Scheduled to finish out the series Saturday and Sunday. However, Saturday's weather does look a little bit questionable, so we might see if there will be a doubleheader on Sunday or not. Final score again, Michigan 13, Penn State 4. The winning pitcher today for Michigan, Connor O'Halloran. He improves to 4-1. Great stat line, 8 innings pitched, 8 hits, 4 earned runs, walked 2, struck out 7, which now breaks the streak for him of 10 or more strikeouts in his last 3 games, had 7 today through 109 pitches. Losing pitcher for Penn State, Daniel Outerkirk, only threw 3 innings, 6 hits, 7 earned runs, walked 3, struck out 3, in what looked like was going to be a really good start for the 6'9" monster for Penn State.
Well, yeah, you had that slider working early, starting it in on right-handed hitters and then sliding back over the plate. And Michigan's hitters were jumping at it a little bit, and you combine that with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, and things are going to be difficult for a hitter. But lost some of his velocity, lost some of his location. I think he got he started thinking a little bit too much about his mechanics instead of just trusting them. And Michigan was able to be patient enough to get some walks and then also make him pay when he left a fastball over the middle of the plate. I don't think they had too many hits on those sliders because the movement was just too much. But when he left a fastball in a hittable spot, Michigan made him pay and shortened his night, certainly.
Connor O'Halloran allowed the 2 solo home runs early in the game that allowed Penn State to take a 2-0 lead, but then Michigan, 13 unanswered runs, helps them out. Penn State scores 2 near the end of the game, but the Wolverines on the offensive side, led by Jeffress with 3 hits, Ted Burton and Joe Longo in the 3 and 4 slots had 2, and also Mitch Voigt had 2 hits, but other than that, Michigan played a great game of team baseball, putting 13 runs on the board and putting up a big number against a pretty good Penn State team. Michigan improves to 10 and 11 on the season. Penn State down to 12 and 6. Wolverines 1-0 in conference play, and vice versa. Penn State is now 0 and 1 in the Big Ten. Play will continue tomorrow, Saturday at 2 o'clock. Wolverines and Nittany Lions, Penn State and Michigan signing off today. Any final thoughts, Dan?
Really impressive win for Michigan. Obviously, they've had some struggles going forward here, but we've talked about this. This really could be a launching pad for this team as they enter Big Ten play. And they've got another chance, a couple chances with this Penn State team to continue to rack up these wins. Bullpen should be fresh. Obviously, only one guy out of there given O'Halloran's success today. So, good start for the Wolverines. Look to see where they end up in this series after this weekend.
One more time, the final score here from Ray Fisher Stadium in downtown Ann Arbor. Michigan 13, Penn State 4. Signing off tonight for my good friend Daniel Olson. My name's Zach Linfield. Good night, and of course, go blue.